because it gets them really loose, and then sometimes it helps them break from the gate, and he's really given her an extremely aggressive warm-up. And the 7-horse Pretty Clever, who I think is potentially your most likely upsetter if there's to be an upset. Good outside draw. She's out of that mare Mineralogist. She's bred by Chester and Mary Broman. She certainly, to me, has a pedigree that says she'll get the mile. The outside post is a benefit. And from a physical perspective, I mean, she takes much more after the female side of the family than she does Hard Spun, who is a little bit on the smaller, more balanced side, but Pretty Clever, making a nice impression on the racetrack, too.
Looked.
All right, Richie, thank you. As 1-2 continues to be the price on your favorite. Big warm-up for I'm Fine. Let's see if she can break a little bit better today.
You know, I find everything Richie says to be earth-shattering. So, Richie, don't sell yourself short, okay? You know, we hang on your every word, and the public does too. And I do find it earth-shattering. I feel the earth move when Richie talks. Maybe that's my stomach.
Andy's hungry up here, maybe. Just as long as you're not hangry. Promise?
Hangry? What's hangry?
When you're so hungry that you're,
I'm always angry, so it's hard to know if it's a hunger-related issue or not.
Andy, I honestly think it's your stomach and you're just lactose intolerant.
Oh, no. Well, let's change the topic, shall we?
I'm Migliori tolerant.
Richie with the earth-shattering information for us here. Andy, we'll take care and get him a snack sooner or later.
I had lunch. I'm not hungry.
All right,
good.
very good, very good. Race 2 coming up next. We'll send it up to John Imbrial with the call.
Ready for the start. And they're off. And from the outside, there goes a Chasing Cara for the lead. Pendolino is right there. Vienna Code now moves up, 3 of them across. The favorite, I'm Perfect, too, from that inside post, is racing in 4th. Because of Susan is next in 5th. Pretty Clever on the extreme outside in 6th. 2 lengths to I'm Fine. And Karamoka is the trailer in 8th. Up front, it is the gray Pendolino. The big long shot here steps away to lead by 2 lengths. It is Pendolino in front. Chasing Cara giving chase in 2nd with Vienna Code down on the inside in 3rd. And Pretty Clever is running in 4th, followed by I'm Perfect 2 through a quarter and 24 seconds. Because of Susan dropping back a bit, being passed on the inside by I'm Fine, and then it is Karamoka. Half mile in 47 and 4/5 seconds. They're midway around the far turn. It's Pendolino, 3/4 of a length. Chasing Cara, and on the outside, Pretty Clever. Now it's 3 of them across. Chasing Cara with a head in front of Pretty Clever as Pendolino drops back. Then comes Vienna Code. I'm Perfect 2 has moved to the extreme outside and is being asked for more. Then comes I Am Fine as the field hits the top of the stretch. 3/4 in 1:13. Down on the inside, it's Chasing Cara. Here is Vienna Code. And on the outside, I Am Perfect 2 with an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Vienna Code has come away with the lead. I'm Perfect 2 now moves into 2nd. Then Chasing Cara and Karamoka and I'm Fine. But they are not going to get to Vienna Code, the upset winner here. I'm Perfect 2 was 2nd. Then Karamoka and I'm Fine.
An upset here in race 2. The 1-2 favorite will have to settle for 2nd, but the number 5, Vienna Code, at 13-1 with the upset, Andy.
Well, as we had pointed out, she did run her best career race last time out when she finished 4th, and she finished just behind Pretty Clever. She ran very well here and got the right ride by Eric Ansel, who got her in the game. I don't know that the favorite would have won this race, but Junior Alvarado needs to get his horses in the game more. I mean, she was only a length plus in front of the number 3 in the backstretch. And the reason was he showed no sense of urgency coming out of the gate. Now, I'm not saying she would have won this race, and certainly not Sour Grapes, so I'm not betting 1-2 shots. But there was no sense of urgency to get position, so he ended up getting shuffled out of that position. Now, in reality, she probably was 2nd best behind Vienna Code, but it's so important to get that position early, and she had the speed to do it, and her rider did not take advantage of that circumstance.
She hung on that left lead late. Will have to settle for second as she had to tip out and try to close from the outside. The winner got the jump on her. Eric Cancel back aboard Vienna Code. Kept after her at 13-1, 5-2-1-3. Official or unofficial order of finish in the second. Under the line, we'll bring you prices in a bit. We'll also talk a little bit about what's to come this weekend. Gufo meeting some familiar faces. Love that big white face of his, as he will look for another Grade 1 win this Saturday in the Joe Hirsch.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Sobomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5, Pete, 775,000, thank you.
Magic's in front.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We had a bit of an upset in the second race at beautiful Belmont Park, 13-1. On the number 5, Vienna Code, piloted to victory by Eric Cancel, who's standing by now with Richie in the winner's circle.
Yeah, Eric, you gave this filly a really nice ride, and this is a horse that you've had success with in the past. How important is it when you have that familiarity with a horse?
It's very important, you know. You got to learn the way that they want to run, you know. And I just try to ride her comfortable, leave it up, everything up to her, so it worked out well.
Yeah, Eric, you were riding so well through Aqueduct. You won the spring meet in dramatic fashion. I think sometimes you get in your own way. You overthink things. You're so talented. Is that something you struggle with at times?
Not really, to be honest, you know. Sometimes it might happen to a few of us, you know. Once we get into a not winning streak, you know, it gets a little bit to you, you know, but you just try to keep your head up, you know, try to keep on fighting. And I just thank God, you know, that I'm healthy. I could come back and do it another day and just keep on grinding.
Well, you certainly want to build some momentum, head into Aqueduct and defend your title. How's things looking for you business-wise going forward? I'm sure a lot of guys are going to be shipping out of town. How about the kind of strategy you and your agent, PJ Campo, have?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm just trying to keep up my business going up to Aqueduct. My agent is doing a great job. You know, he's trying to keep me on the best mount that he can, and my job is to try to do the best I can just to keep on it, you know. And with some of the guys going out of town, gives me more opportunity to just keep on building.
Well, and rides like this certainly will continue to keep building that business. Guys, delivered a perfect ride here in the second on a long shot.
Good to see him in the winner's circle, and with a nice ride indeed. Returns $28.60 over the 1-2 favorite. Eric Cancel picking up the nice victory there as we get ready to give a little preview of what's coming up this weekend. Some more stakes action. We had a tremendous week of graded stakes action last week at Belmont Park, and coming up this weekend, we'll pay tribute to the founding president of the National Turf Riders Association, Joe Hirsch.
Yeah, I didn't know Joe. You know, I mean, we were around the same time, but, you know, I don't think I've ever heard anything but positive things about Joe. And so many people that I know that work with him, people like Jay Privman, Steve Christ, and, you know, very influential in horse racing and a very positive person in horse racing as well. And I think it's terrific that we have, you know, this has always been the Turf Classic, a race we started in the 70s, actually originally run at Aqueduct. And when Joe passed away, we named it in honor of him. And I can't think of a person more worthy.
So fitting, as it will be a 1.5 miles on the turf, the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, as it is our America's Best Racing race of the week, the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. And a tough field, horses we are familiar with as far as going this distance. Andy, we will have a rematch of the top 3 finishers, in fact, coming out of the Grade 1 Sword Dancer at Saratoga, the race right before the Travers.
Yeah, I thought a lot of people know Ryan Moore is not listed to ride this time on Japan. Were critical and felt that Ryan Moore was too patient, and he let Jufo get the jump on him. He did get the jump on him. I don't agree with that sentiment. I thought that Ryan gave him a very good ride. You see him sitting inside right there. Now, he's a bit blind switched by Gufo, and Joel did a good job getting Gufo more engaged, closer. It was sort of more of an even effort for him. But if you watch right here, Japan gets out, and he'll get to him. It's not as though he ran out of time and was a fast closing second, because right in here, if Japan had the horse, he would have gotten by Gufo. I think that Gufo held him safe at the end. I think they both ran well in here. It's interesting with Gufo because he's won his last 2 starts in 1.5 miles, and this was his second Grade 1 victory. The Sword Dancer, he won the Grade 1 Belmont Derby last year at 1.25 miles. Christophe, come on, his trainer seems to feel he's better as a 1.25 mile horse. There just aren't that many 1.25 mile races. There's the former Arlington Million, there's the Manhattan. Otherwise, the big races are at 1.5 miles, and obviously Christophe wants to try him in the Breeders' Cup, trying to get that elusive Breeders' Cup victory. It's sort of shocking that a trainer like Christophe Clement doesn't have a Breeders' Cup when he's won so many other races. We'll see if Gufo continue to move forward. It's a similar type field than the one he faced in the Sword Dancer.
We'll see as he tries to pick up another Grade 1 victory, and of course home turf as well, with the stable being based in New York. Gufo looking to make it 3 in a row since adding those blinkers on as well. And the question will be, as we often ask, where does the pace come from? You do have Channel Maker, who we know will go out, but a horse that can be forwardly placed and had a win in the John's Call last time out is Serve the King for Chad Brown, a horse that was a little bit more forward last time.
Yeah, he was, but it was more circumstance there. I mean, Serve the King's gonna have to show he's good enough. You know, when you're dealing with Gufo in Japan, you have the 2 horses with the recent good races. With Channel Maker, who is going to be the clear speed, he may be not the horse he once was, but he did win this race last year, and he does have a very strong history. And I think as the controlling speed, he is a danger in this Joe Hirsch. As far as Serve the King, always hoping to see Chad Brown do well in these races, but this is a horse that's going to have to improve, I think, to beat the best horse in here. But I don't think it's an insurmountable distance.
He was 4th in the United Nations 2 starts back. Grade 1 company won that restricted John's Call up at Saratoga last time out. It'll be a fun one, that's for sure. Looking forward to the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic this Saturday. But that's not the only graded stake on the program. We have the Matron as well, 6 furlongs on the inner turf. It's a Grade 3 for the 2-year-old fillies. And taking a look at the horses that we have in here, Bubble Rock, an intriguing one for Brad Cox, who won very nicely to break her maiden last time out at Saratoga.
She did, but she got easily beaten by Lady Danae, who she's going to face again in this Matron race, and I believe they are the top 2 here. Now, Bubble Rock obviously got a very good trip. You see sort of Jose Irad Ortiz sitting chilly behind in those Ed Anthony silks, I believe, down the inside in those yellow and brown ones, and comes through on the rail. She probably improved off her debut, but Lady Danae, who came back and did not run well seemingly at Kentucky Downs in her last start, she was caught 4 or 5 wide at Kentucky Downs, and that was the last day when the rail was the place you absolutely had to be effective, with the rails being down and that turf course pretty beaten up. So I think Lady Danae will be a tough customer for this runner in her next start. I think they're the main two, but it came up a very big field. 12 horses, including 2 Wesley Ward fillies, who are also both entered against the boys in futurity, I believe, on Sunday. But that's a smaller field.
Right, we'll see where they do opt to go, but Wesley Ward with 2, as you mentioned, Poppy Flower coming out of stakes second at Kentucky Downs, as well as Chi-Town Lady, who tried the turf for the first time in the Bolton Landing last time out and made that a win over her stablemate Poppy Flower.
Yeah. I'm not convinced this was that strong a race. There's also a course that had a lot of give in it. It'll be a different course here on Saturday. But obviously these 2 horses are players, and here Wesley Ward is always dangerous in these races. I just happen to prefer the other 2 runners.
Well, we'll see, as Chi-Town Lady did get the win that day. John Velasquez will be out of town riding at Keeneland on Saturday, so Joel Rosario picks up the mount on Chi-Town Lady, filly by Verrazano. Mystic Eyes talking about that Ainsworth at Kentucky Downs. She tried to wire the field, finished second in that race for Todd Pletcher. It's an interesting field, and it's nice to see it come up such a big field for these fillies as well.
I agree. Now, Mystic Eyes was towards the rail in that race. She drifted a little bit the 2-path in the stretch. I thought she took advantage of the course, but I still believe her debut was a good one, and maybe 6.5, demanding a Kentucky Downs a bit far, 6 furlongs in this race. I certainly don't want to dismiss her, and especially considering the meeting that Todd Pletcher has been having.
Been having a very strong Belmont Fall meet. As we take a look at what else is coming up, here's the weekend stakes schedule. The Vosburg, that'll be exciting as well on Saturday. Andy alluded to the Futurity on Sunday. We also have the Beldame and the Knickerbocker to look forward to. It'll be a jam-packed weekend with exciting action, of course, highlighted by the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. Can Gufo pick up another Grade 1 victory? Back here today to Belmont Park, we get ready for the 3rd race, $40,000 claiming race, non-winners of 2 in life. It's 6 furlongs on the main track. We had a couple of scratches. I think Life's Changer, perhaps a significant scratch in here, as we take a look at the 6/12th man who's off the layoff. Michelle Nevin been having a strong Belmont meet as well. We'll talk more about her charge and the rest of this field after this break on America's Day at the Races.
And they're off. Followed by Microbiome, a late run from Guinness, a 16th to go, and Run Up will make every pole a winning one in the sorority as she comes to the Run Happy finish line. Run Up jogs.
Eclipse champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These 2 stride for stride. Authentic, Tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky
New York, the best racing, the best purses, the best New York Stallion, War Dancer. Opening day at Saratoga.
A bang-bang finish. It is Danzig with the stars.
In the New York Stallion Stakes.
Here is Step Dancer. Step Dancer got him.
And with 2-time winner, Rouge, Barrage, and 2-year-old Surprise Boss. War Dancer, one of the top sires of the Saratoga meet with 8 wins and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Follow War Dancer online at wardancerstud.com.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Run Happy, the champion sprinter who raced medication-free and stands now in legendary Stall 1 at Claiborne Farm. Coming up in this next 3rd race, Michelle Nevin has the current favorite, 12th man, off a layoff since January, currently 3-2 on the drop in class after facing Salty Allowance Company in those last few starts. But been a good week and a half or so for Michelle Nevin, Andy, especially with a son of Run Happy and Happy Medium, who was very very impressive for Michelle last week.
Incredibly impressive, and much like 12th Man coming off of the layoff as well. I hadn't seen this horse since, I think, last November, maybe, in the debut. No, it was March, actually. I'm sorry, it was March. I mean, and I'll tell you, this was a fair racetrack. When I watched this race, I said it must be a gold rail. I've been watching the race the rest of the day. It wasn't the case. A 103 buyer. Jack Christopher now is a 102 buyer in the Champagne, and this is an older horse, but you're also talking about one of the best 2-year-olds, about the best 2-year-old in the country. That is some return race. I have to think that Michelle and Samantha Siegel, who owns the horse, are thinking, can they come back in a non-winners of one, run well enough, and then maybe take a shot in the Malibu at the end of the year in California, or will they be more patient? But obviously, this is a good one and another runner from Run Happy.
Yeah, very exciting. Gelding by Run Happy. Plenty of upside for that 3-year-old's happy medium. But Michelle has a big chance here with 12th Man off the layoff, as we'll get a paddock report from Richie. Richie, what do you think about this Gelding by Super Saver off the bench?
I tell you, Keisha, off the bench, he couldn't look any fitter. Talked to Michelle about him. He says he's been training really well. Feels like he landed in a good spot company-wise. But when we're looking at horses off a layoff, we're looking to see, if they're a little bit on the softer side or carrying a little bit extra weight. I'm not seeing that at all. I'm seeing a horse that looks like he's ready to fire a big shot off the bench. I think maybe a little bit more of a question mark is the 6 furlongs. I do think he'd prefer going a little bit further, but maybe being sharp off the layoff. Again, from a physical perspective, he looks very well prepared here. The other horse caught my eyes, the 4 Trash Talker. Asked Linda Rice about adding blinkers, and she just said, want to make sure he's sharp. In perfect world, like to see him on the lead, and I really don't see the kind of speed that he has in this race. I do think he'll make the lead here if he breaks cleanly, and that's never a bad place to be. Her other horse, the 2 Jerusalem Gates, has some speed, but that's more long speed. Trash Talker has true sprint speed and the addition of blinkers and intention. Linda's saying that that's where she'd like to see him on the lead.
So we're wondering about spelling here, and my feeling is they must have wanted to name the 6th 12th Man, but there was another 12th Man out there, so they spelled it incorrectly. I'm not sure. I think about the kids at home, that are trying to learn their spelling from horses' names. I'm a little disappointed.
It's so funny when you look at it, too. Sometimes, because obviously every horse name has to be a certain number of characters, has to be approved by the Jockey Club. And sometimes there are some really funny stories behind how a horse ends up with its name.
And sometimes there are names that shouldn't have been approved.
Very true.
Yeah, I'm a terrible speller. My mother was a remedial reading teacher for many, many years up in Saratoga. And she's also a terrible speller.
Really?
Yeah, but she was a great reading teacher for many, many years.
Those spelling lessons back in school, my mom drilled it into my head. 12th Man, however, though, he hasn't run since January, does take a drop in class. Distance a question for Richie as he is coming off the bench, though. We'll see how he stacks up versus these. This is a race back in October when he won.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with the distance. The best races he's run have been at these distances. He seems to be good at any distance. If he runs his good races, he's going to win this race. It's not really going to be that close. He's not going to be pace compromised, and he's faster than these horses. But you have a horse that ran a poor figure after running 3 figures in the low to mid-80s, ran a 66 buyer, and then is off a layoff for 9+ months, and comes back dropping in for a tag. None of these things are good sign. Now, keep in mind, this is a homebred for Samantha Siegel, not a horse they paid a lot for at the auction. Even his last race gives him a puncher's chance, but obviously there's an issue, kept off the racetrack and dropping. But we've seen Michelle do well off of layoffs for what it's worth. She actually is pretty good. Here's a stat for you. 180-day plus layoffs, 6-month layoffs or more. First time for a tag in the dirt, Michelle is 3 for 9 with 5 hitting the board and a 228 ROI. So she has done well in these circumstances, but still, you're talking about a favorite that you have to ask yourself, how much do you trust the horse?
Still something to overcome. Has not raced since January at Aqueduct, and last win was nearly a year to the day ago, October 8th of 2020. So some big questions there to be answered. But what do you make about the number 4 Trash Talker, where Richie commented what Linda Rice had shared as far as the blinkers going on, wanting him to be aggressive and be on the lead?
Oh, I don't even think it's close. He's clearly the other horse in this race. I think the board reflects it. And I think these two will separate probably as we get closer. He's actually was favored in pick 3s. I didn't see the doubles. I I think Trash Talker is very dangerous. You know, he was in a race where there was an abundance of speed last time, and it was a very deep and difficult field. There's probably 6 horses in that race that could be favored in this race. And he didn't really run that badly, even not making the lead. The time before that, he got engaged in a very competitive pace, a race where supply and demand, who won it, came from the clouds to win the race. So his recent races are solid, and they're just better than the other horses, save the favorite if the favorite runs a race. And the thing about Michelle Nevin is, she's careful. It's not like you see her horses running, incredibly frequently. She takes her time. And I think if she's bringing back 12th man, you can trust that he'll probably run okay. But will okay be good enough to beat Trash Talker? Because maybe Trash Talker just runs better, and she's not quite the 80-something buyer horse. Still runs okay, but it's mid to high 70s. And maybe Trash Talker can still beat her.
That will be the question in here. Again, a couple of scratches in this spot. 8-5 right now on 12th man, as the number 1 is Far Away Look. First time running against New York Bred Company since that maiden win. In fact, that was the only time he faced New York Bred Company. That was a victory. Can he repeat it today?
Well, if he repeats his victory, he's going to be last in this race. Well, he might beat Scotto. It's fairly close. I don't know what all the money is for this horse. Is it Irad Ortiz money? Is Irad is still 1 win away from 3,000? I'm fairly confident he's going to get it. Probably not in this race. I don't know what all the money for this horse is, to be honest with you. Had a little bit of trouble last time out. I'm extremely skeptical. For people wondering who Bonnie Lucas is, she's the assistant trainer to Wayne Potts, who's currently serving, I believe, a 2-week suspension.
For a claiming violation.
Yes, claiming violation. So she's the assistant. So I don't think that's a major issue. I just don't know that this horse's horse, I believe, is good enough. I don't see where his races are. They're good enough to beat Trash Talker.
Very disappointing in his first couple of efforts against maiden special weight on both surfaces. It was a big drop off the bench, and he got the win in Saratoga, though that was with previous connections. Can he step up today? I want to remind everybody that you can earn a $15 bonus today by playing the races with Naira Bets. Bet $50 each at Belmont and Delaware Park today, and you can earn a $15 bonus, win or lose. All you have to do is opt in. Visit NairaBets.com for promotion details. Getting ready for the 3rd race here, about 6 minutes away at Belmont Park. Gorgeous afternoon, and 8-5 on the favorite 12th man. Is this a race, Andy, that you would kind of lean on the top 2, as we mentioned, if you're playing those multi-race sequences?
Yeah, I would. I'll be surprised if the 4 or 6 don't win this race. I think you've got the 6 who's just better than these if he runs anywhere close to his good race. And otherwise, I think the 4 kind of overlays the competition here. The 4 is actually favored in doubles. It's $36 versus $43 with the 6. We had a nice price winner the 2nd race. The 3rd choice is a distant 3rd choice at around 97, I think, with the 1.
You have a pick 3 or a double kicking off here, should you like to get involved. We kick off the post parade, though, with the 1 Far Away Look.
We'll see if this is an improving horse for this barn and if he can take another step forward and beat these. I'm dubious, but I suppose it's not impossible.
The other one for Linda Rice. Here's the 2 Jerusalem Gates.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like the 3rd likeliest winner. Has speed, but speed going a bit longer won't be necessarily a major pace factor at 6.
Turning back in distance here as we look at the now favorite for Linda's barn, Trash Talker.
The major competition in the front end might have been the 7 Life Changer. With that one coming out, Trash Talker is in a position to lead these on a merry, merry chase, and he's favored right now.
See if he can take them every step of the way. Here's the 5 Scotto.
Scotto's best race really makes him at best a contender for 3rd, maybe 4th.
On his toes with Louis Sai as aboard for Rudy Rodriguez. Next will be the number 6, 12th man off the layoff for Michelle Nevin.
Correct pronunciation, 12th. You have to like 12th.
12th.
You can't, you got some kind of way to omit the F. If he runs his race, he's going to win, but he's off a long layoff and dropping down, and you have to be a bit concerned about that. I still believe he's the horse to beat.
8-5 now, while the number 4 Trash Talker is at 3-2. There's the field for the 3rd here at Belmont Park. What graded stake are you looking forward to most this weekend for Saturday and Sunday?
Well,
Andy?
I mean, I'm looking forward to the Matron at this point because it's a big field, and I think those kind of races give you a chance to get some better prices in there. And from a betting standpoint, I'm fascinated to see what they do in there. I'm interested to see what Gufo can do in Japan, and see if Channel Maker, with a better chance in the front end, still has it in him to win a big race like this, can Serve the King move forward. And, you know, the Vosburg's a funny race because obviously it's relatively thin. Frenzy Fire's coming back, but I think that the theme, there's a couple of themes in the Vosburg. Baby Yoda. I'm very curious to see if Baby Yoda's for real, because you're talking about a horse that, along with Flightline, ran a 1:14 Beyer, the 2 fastest figures that have been given out by Beyer Associates for any horse all year in America. And everybody's talking about Flightline, and understandably so. He's been brilliantly impressive out in California. If you haven't seen him,
going to the Breeders'
check
Cup,
his
though.
races out.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda ran the same kind of figure on the same weekend up at Saratoga. It's a little hard to believe, and I think even Bill Mott was caught by surprise because, like me, he preferred his other runner who finished second in there and ran very well off of the layoff. So is he going to run back to that? Because at the end of the day, if Baby Yoda goes out and he runs a similar type fig, he's going to win this race, and he could find himself vying for favoritism with Jackie's Warrior in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Now, there's a big gap between winning an allowance race like he did and then doing it against top horses, but it was a crazy fast race. There's no denying it was a fast figure. So I think you could argue the most interesting horse running here this weekend, and one of the most interesting horses in the country, is Baby Yoda. Because who is Baby Yoda? And will the real Baby Yoda show up? A horse that ran in a $10,000 maiden claiming race just 4 starts ago.
Yeah, it really is crazy. I'm glad you mentioned him, because actually, this morning on the Throgs Neck Bridge, there was a car in front of me with the license plate that said Baby Yoda, and it made me think of him. So maybe that's your sign.
You and I have an insane friend that if he saw that, we know would be betting on him.
Would be betting on it. Would be betting on it.
A gentleman who I've been known to be on TV with. Yeah, Baby Yoda, the more I think about it, is kind of the most fascinating horse running. And I imagine Bill Mott feels the same way, because taken at face value his last race, and it was a wild, and he didn't get lucky to win it. He was involved in the quick pace. He was very, very good. It's just, it's not that you don't believe the number. It's just very hard to believe that Baby Yoda is that horse. But he's only run 4 times. Maybe he's the second coming. And maybe he's going to blast that field in the Vosburg. And maybe he's going to win the Vosburg and pay like $5.20. And you're going to say he should have paid $3 in here off his last race. And if I'm Jackie's Warriors camp, obviously, you're very confident going to the Breeders' Cup, but I'm paying a lot of attention to what Baby Yoda does.
It'll be intriguing, that's for sure. Good litmus test this weekend for Baby Yoda. Back here today, though, the 3rd race at Belmont. Horses warming up. Let's check in again with Richie.
Acacia, you talk about being able to read license plates on the Throgs Neck Bridge. I came over the Throgs Neck this morning, too, about an hour before you did, and there certainly was enough traffic and plenty of time to read all of the license plates around us, something Baby Yoda doesn't have to deal with because he's fast. Talking about fast, Trash Talker. I think he's the fastest horse in the race. I love the way he warmed up. He looked good in the paddock, but he looked better on the racetrack, and he's taking all the money now at 6-5. Obviously like what I see from a physical perspective. And the 6-horse 12th man, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think the spelling looks fine to me. Andy, don't be a trash talker. And just to go back to what I was talking about, it was kind of an incomplete thought. He's run extremely well sprinting, but he looks more like a horse that wants a mile or even better. He's kind of got that, include the grandsire, maternal grandsire look to him, a horse that's, a little bit longer, a little bit scopier, but obviously he has speed. He looks good from the outside, and to me, it looks like a 2-horse race, guys.
All right, Richie, thank you. 7-5 now on Trash Talker. Jose Ortiz going to be aboard for Linda Rice. As we move towards the starting gate, where did you land, Andy, on here?
I ended up on the horse outside. I think it's a 2-horse race with 12th man and Trash Talker. I like the name Trash Talker. It's a good name. NBA season starting soon. I always think all the Trash Talkers in the NBA. It's part of the fun. Talking about Baby Yoda's got me excited for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, you're grinning.
Well, we like to see good horses run, and I am fascinated. I'm also interested to see what Following Sea does in there, the Run Happy that's running in there. I think Frenzy Fire may have his hands full, either with a 3-year-old and or Baby Yoda in there. Frenzy Fire is a good, steady horse. There's a chance that Baby Yoda is brilliant. I think there's a chance that Following Sea, the competition a little bit different in here, might be competitive.
It'll be fun this weekend, that's for sure. Meanwhile, race 3 at Belmont about to kick off. We send it up to John and Brielle for the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Number 2, Jerusalem Gates, had to steady shortly after the start and has dropped back in the field. Up front, it is Trash Talker who has the early lead. 12th man on the outside runs in second. And then it's Faraway Look next in third. Now Jerusalem Gates gains ground down on the inside of Scotto. Up front, Trash Talker by a half length. 12th man on the outside in second. The front two have 3.5 lengths on Faraway Look in third. The opening quarter mile in 23 seconds. Jerusalem Gates is down at the rail running in fourth, about 7 lengths from the lead, and Scotto is at the back. Trash Talker now gets away from 12th man. Trash Talker has opened up a 3-length lead. 12th man is in second. Jerusalem Gates now moves to third with a quarter of a mile to the finish. And it is Trash Talker on top. Ran the half in 45 3/5 seconds. It's Trash Talker with the lead by 3 lengths. 12th man remains in second. And then it is Jerusalem Gates and Scotto, and farther back, Faraway Look. Trash Talker has the lead as they come on for the finish. And it will be Trash Talker over 12th man. They were 1-2 right from the start. Photo finish for third.
Number 4, Trash Talker, blinkers on, taking them every step of the way, and a nice finish here for the Son of Competitive Edge.
I think that 12th man ran fine off the layoff. Trash Talker was just impressive in here. Maybe the blinkers helped make him be a little bit more focused, but he was very good winning this race. An easy victory for him. Not a bad effort for 12th man. He just couldn't beat this guy today. Trash Talker will be talking some trash to his competition on the way back to the winner's circle.
Oh, he certainly will. The 2 favorites doing it well out there on the track. 12th man not having run in about 9 months. Certainly solid effort, second off the bench. Wonder if he got claimed today. First time in for the claiming tag for the 40,000. Here's a look at the start though. The number 2, Jerusalem Gates, the other one for Linda Rice, completely knocked as the number 1, Faraway Look, broke out.
Yeah, and obviously compromised the 2. I think it wouldn't have mattered as a result here, but did get compromised by the start for sure.
4-6-2-5, the number 4. Trash Talker went off as your even money favorite. Jose Ortiz picking up another one here. Impressive with those blinkers on. Earlier today, though, in 2-year-old races, we saw trainer Todd Pletcher with another victory as the Hall of Famer has had another stellar year. We'll take a look back at how it all began and talk a little bit about what's still to come.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his first foals have arrived. Dual Surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. In the third race, every step of the way, it was the number 4 Trash Talker. Talking some trash, coming back, blinkers on, and picking up a win here under Jose Ortiz. His first victory, in fact, Trash Talker since December 2019. Jose the jockey, though, and he's standing by with Richie.
Thanks, Acacia. And listen, Trash Talker was very good and the best horse, but Jose, I thought there were 2 things you did that I really, really liked watching. First, you really bounced him out of the gate to kind of ensure that it didn't let anybody else think they could maybe make the lead. And then the 3/8 pole, kind of letting him go on a little bit. Explain your thought process there.
Yeah, like you say, he was much the best, but he had the speed. We got blinkers on, so I want to make sure that he take the lead, and we did. And like you say, out on the 3/8 pole, I let him loose and let him run his race. You know, he's a speed horse, and I think when you're riding a speed horse, that's his weapon. You can take away the weapon trying to slow it down, you know. So just let him free, let him run, and let the horses behind me make the run.
Make them work hard to keep up with you, in essence.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, Jose, you're 3 in front now for leading rider. How important is it when you're in a position to be leading rider to get it done? How much pride do you take in it?
It's great. I mean, with this colony, how deep it is right now, man, any leading rider at any track matters. You know, it's great. I'm gonna be going out to Keeneland for a couple of days, and next weekend probably for 1 day. But I think no excuses. If I come back and just keep winning daily like I'm doing right now, I think I can get it home, and hopefully.
Well, you just got done riding Trash Talker. When you're leading rider, any trash talking go on in the room?
No, really, no.
Guys, I know for a fact, a little too much respect amongst all these guys, and that's how you ride a speed horse. Anybody wants a textbook example of how to ride a speed horse, just watch this replay.
Kind words from the MIG, and he's absolutely right. Jose Ortiz with the win. And Jose mentioned, Andy, how deep a riding colony it is here in New York, and certainly to make your mark in a group like this is a big deal.
Well, I mean, he's made his mark because he's one of the best riders in the country. I mean, you know, he won an Eclipse Award before his brother won an Eclipse Award. It kind of got forgotten in Irad winning those races, but Jose is a sensational rider. And if I want to see how to ride a speed horse, I watch some of Migliori's rides because that guy knew how to ride speed horses.
Race 4 will be our next order of business, a mile and a 16th on the inner turf, making claiming race at $450,000. Todd Pletcher with the 5, Amazing Dream. And we've come to know Todd Pletcher now as a Hall of Famer, certainly one of the greatest racing trainers here in the United States. Where did that passion all begin? It was never in doubt for Todd Pletcher that he would be a horse trainer.
Was at La Mesa Park in New Mexico, and he was 8 years old, and they had a horse sale there, yearling sale. Todd said, "Dad, this lady wants to give me a horse. Her husband bought this horse out of the sale for $800, and she's going to give it away." He said, "Dad, this is a nice little horse. He's correct. Can I have him?" We took him and we broke him, and the first time we ran him for $25,000 claimant. They claimed the horse. He won, and he had $36,000 in the bank. And I said, "That's a good start on your college education right there."
I have never in my life been known except, "Oh, that's Todd Pletcher's mother." I have no identity. I'm just Todd Pletcher's mother.
Todd Pletcher had the work ethic, he had the energy, he was articulate, and I guess I could say he's pretty handsome too. But the big thing was he was a damn good horseman.
And Lucas must be proud of you people. I don't care how the relationship.
He is. We all saw him here at Belmont, and you can see that he's sort of taking pride in the fact that most of the guys that have worked for him are doing pretty well.
I used to say, "I'm going to have a name for you." You know, like all these big people have names, and, you know, Marvelous this and this, Assessing and this. I said, "You're El Duro." He said, "What does that mean?" I said, "El Duro is the person that is the tough one, the hardest one. The one that, like, if it's a group of people there and you point to them and say, that guy, he's El Duro."
Obviously, he's a very unique guy. He's hands-on on everything. You try to go into the computer, believe me, it's not going to work.
You know, Johnny and I were sort of coming along at the same time, so it just sort of evolved where Johnny was on the rise and our stable was growing.
The shuttle, lights down. Uncle Mo, English Channel, forward, alley. Stay thirsty. Alice Mallett. Quality road. Left bank, cross traffic. Lawyer Ron, wait a while. And it's going to be a filly in the Belmont.
To me, Rags to Riches was always the most exciting and funnest win that we've had. The Derby with Super Saver was almost like a relief. With Always Dreaming, we really felt like we had a huge chance, and it was extra special to win it with Johnny.
After all these races that we had won together, he had won the Derby with somebody else, I had won the Derby with somebody else. It felt right. It felt really, really right.
We've had a lot of starters in the Derby. I think we've had 59. But one thing I'm proud of is I think 29 of those have gone on to win stake races after the Kentucky Derbies.
And it's a vintage performance by Vino.
All the grade ones, the champion horses, the number of wins, the money earned, 14 training titles at Saratoga, and he's won 14 in 25 years.
The Lucas organization instilled early on is it's a team effort. I've been fortunate to have staff that has been with me for a long time and a good portion of the 25 years that's taken to get to this point. Without them, you can't make it work, and I also appreciate that some of them who have worked for me have gone on to do very well on their own. So Wayne Lucas has a pretty impressive family tree. Our branch has done pretty well on its own also.
The one thing I contribute to Todd's success is he's always known what he wanted to be, and Todd was a type that anything he set his mind to, he could do.
The first text I sent to him was to Todd and Tracy, congratulating both of them, because it's an amazing team effort. Tracy's involved in the business. If Todd works 20 hours a day, she probably works 21 hours a day. She deserves as much credit as he does.
It's hard because of a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifices. He always separates one with the other one. You know, his family's family and business is business.
There's some games that I missed, and there's some parties that I missed, and there's some school events that I missed that, you know, I wish I could have back. But on the flip side of that, I think the one thing that we get in this industry is the family can also share in a lot of the stuff that's going on. So, you know, the kids were able to spend summers working at the barn, and they were able to come in for the Derby and go to the big races. You know, it's not too often that your kids can come to your job, come to your office, and then share some of the big moments as well.
Trainer Todd Pletcher, that Hall of Fame career, a long time in the making, and you saw on that feature, it's a lot of sacrifice, and Andy, it's the incredible work ethic that Todd has as well.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to succeed, especially at that level in racing, whatever you're doing, unless your work ethic is extremely strong. Todd's incredibly impressive in every way, and you know, any of us who had the pleasure of getting to know him at all around the racetrack, it's impossible not to have enormous respect for him. I mean, Todd and I got friendly when he first went on his own, because I was playing full-time then and down at Gulfstream in '96, and we watched the races in the same TV, the old Gulfstream, a lot of people remember, up on the second floor in the clubhouse, and talking to Todd a lot, and I hadn't known him at all. I was so impressed by just how smart and knowledgeable, but he's beyond that. He's a good guy, and he's a funny guy, yeah. And I think Todd has robbed himself a little bit, and I've teased him about this. He should do more public stuff, more public speaking, more things, because he's such an interesting person to talk to. Not just because he's so knowledgeable, but he's also got a great sense of humor. He's very glib, and I think a lot of people don't really know who the real Todd Pletcher is, and he's just terrific in every way. He's obviously been great in the game as far as success, but also as a person. He's a very, very interesting guy and a fun guy to be around, so I know you know.
With dry sense of humor and just the incredible brain capacity for all of the horses, and any horse you ask him about that's in training under his care, he'll be able to tell you right off the bat what that horse is doing and describe him to you. So that Hall of Fame career, as mentioned, a long time in the making, and he does have a chance in this upcoming 4th race, but also this weekend in the Vosburg with Following Sea, Andy, who we talked about as a really intriguing runner, the son of Run Happy, looking to turn things around this weekend.
This was his race 3 back. And obviously very, very promising off that. They got a little ambitious and tried the Haskell with him. Okay, it didn't work out. He couldn't go that far. Caught the tough field with Life as good as Jackie's Warrior, not as good as them in the King's Bishop. I think 6 furlongs is what this guy wants to do all along. I actually picked him in the Vosburg. He may have his hands full. I obviously respect Frenzy Fire, but I think Following Sea could be a better horse than him. And Baby Yoda, if he runs his last race, is going to win this race, whatever Following Sea does. But I think he's a very interesting alternative in this race.
Following Sea drawn to the outside. Joel Rosario will be in the saddle once again. As we get back to this 4th race coming up next at Belmont Park, there's a look at Todd Pletcher's Charge, the number 5 Amazing Dream, acting up a little bit in the saddling stalls. We'll talk more about this 2-year-old maiden race after this break on America's Day at the Races.
Consistently versatile with 22 Grade 1 winners on every surface from 6 furlongs to 1 1/4 miles all over the world.
Spectacular return for Charlatan in the Run Happy Malibu Stakes.
But it's Nashville. Nashville under no stress whatsoever, winning it.
Lexingtonian comes back on the inside to win it.
All purpose, all places, all power. Speightstown.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com or download the app today. We have 2-year-olds coming up in this 4th race. It's a 1 1/16 on the inner turf. It's maiden claiming for $50,000, and a lot of changes for some of these 2-year-olds in here. Andy, a lot trying the turf for the first time or maybe dropping down to this level of competition.
This race is an absolute guess fest because, as you say, trying easier competition, trying the turf for the first time. There isn't a single horse in this race that has run particularly well in any race. And horses like Open the Gate, I get why he's probably going to be favored in here. But the reality is he didn't do any running in the race that she's coming out of. And it was a race that featured a quick pace that fell apart, and he still didn't pick up any pieces. The 11, Vexed and Relaxed, is stretching out from a sprint effort where she did no running whatsoever. I like the 7, False Hope, because she actually did do some running. She chased a pace that kind of fell apart, and she was very wide around the track. So I think that she can run much better. But as far as Open the Gate, I mean, I'll tell you something. I am really on the fence about the race that she's coming out of. And Vagaries, who may have run the best of anybody, or the Shug McGay horse who finished 5th that showed a lot of speed in there, they're coming back in our 2nd race on Saturday. And I think you're going to have to make a judgment about the race they're coming out of because Kinchin didn't come back and run particularly well. The horse who won the race ran poorly, both of them in a very, very slow Miss Grillo this weekend. So I think there's a real chance that just wasn't a very strong maiden race. He can win, or she can win. I just think there's so many other places to go. Can No Nanette Go improve on the turf? A Greenpoint Crusader who won our Champagne the Slop. Haven't seen Huddersfield. Solid Tune on the far outside. The 12 is taking a ton of money, breaking from a very tough post. Not sure why that horse is getting bet. It's not much turf pedigree. This is a very tricky race.
It's an interesting one, that's for sure. As we welcome in for the first time today, our Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, we need some help here. What do you make about these horses here in the paddock?
Well, there is one that I'm actually very interested in that will be trying the turf for the first time. But let's start with the horse who is your very tepid favorite right now. That is number 3, Open the Gate. I agree with Andy. She did really not much running in her lone turf start today, albeit in a maiden special weight. You know, she doesn't necessarily strike you as a total turf horse either. Obviously, she improved. I just think she's one that's a little bit on the slower side that needs to cover distance. Now, in her 3rd career start, this is by far the most together and fit she's looked, and she's been very professional, which I can't say that about her debut. So there's been that progression forward. I just don't know how good she is, as we'll take a look at number 5. That is Amazing Dream. And first time out, the only time I'd seen her in a maiden special weight early on in the 2-year-old season, I wrote, looks like longer on turf. Well, I'm getting it here today, as there isn't that much turf pedigree to report on. But physically, she looks like a turf horse. She has that very flat proverbial turf hoof to her. She's very angular behind. She is a little bit of a nervous type, so keep your eye on her. She was, misbehaving in spots, not overly acting up, that's for sure. But physically, she really fits this spot well, and she's gotten so much stronger as this 2-year-old season has progressed. Number 7, speaking of a nervous type, that is False Hope. Let's see how Javier Castellano gets on here, because that was when she really lost it last time out at Saratoga when Luis Saez was trying to get on her. And then it just kind of spilled over to the racetrack. She was very difficult in the warm-up. She looked as though she wanted to kind of get out a bit too in that race while receiving a wide trip. So far, so good. Knock on wood, though, today it looks as though they've schooled her quite a bit. And 2, the addition of blinkers. A lot of times the blinkers will kind of act almost like a cocoon with these horses and kind of maybe bring them down a notch so they don't see quite as much and they don't get so nervous by it. So making a better impression, all things considered, with False Hope. As number 11, Vexed and Relaxed, will draw in here. I just think the stretch out makes a lot of sense for this daughter of Creative Cause. She's a lot more relaxed here in her 2nd start, which I like to see. And she's just moved forward physically as well. I think she's an intriguing player, Acacia.
All right, Maggie, thank you. A very interesting race coming up here, and you can often tell when that's the case. Pretty wide open when your current favorite is 7-2 and looks a little suspicious.
I agree. Listen, once again, I'm not going to be shocked if Open the Gate wins here, but there's also a real possibility this horse can't really run at all, and I think the same could be said for Vexed and Relaxed, who's not taking much money. I'd love to know where all the money's coming for Solid Tune. They did try to get the horse in the turf. The horse has really done very little running, does have some speed, but has a tough post breaking from the far outside on the inner turf course. Getting the right trip is not going to be easy, even with a rider as good as Jose Ortiz. So I think it's going to be very tough for that horse. And the way it's getting bet, you almost wonder if there's a work somewhere on the turf, or there's somewhere they know this horse, you see the Saratoga, this horse worked in the grass. Maybe he looked really good in those workouts, because she is really getting bet in here. And it's not like Bruce Levine, and I'm a big fan of Bruce's, and his trainers won a lot of races for a long, long time, but it's not like his horses are taking an inordinate amount of money.
Absolutely. First 2 starts for this filly were with Norm Cassie. Makes the first race now for Bruce Levine. As we'll get into the post parade, starting things off with the number 1, No Nanette No by Greenpoint Crusader.
The Dam wasn't that. She was more on the cheaper side, but she did win on the turf with a 71 buyer, produced 1 horse stride turf that was not good.
Here's the 3, tepid favorite, Open the Gate.
She takes a big drop. We'll see if that wakes her up.
Junior Alvarado aboard for the 3rd start of her career, filly by Arrogate. Here's the 4, London Pearl.
No turf pedigree to suggest this one will be a runner.
A little bit green out there on track with the pony. Mike Luzzi aboard. Next will be the Todd Pletcher runner. Number 5, Amazing Dream.
Well, Maggie had some good things to say. There really is a ton of turf pedigree in this one, either a flatter Dam and flatter Tremendous Sire, but not really as a turf horse sire.
We'll see how she takes to the grass today. Here's the 7, False Hope. It talked about some of those antics first time out. Hopefully she's better 2nd race.
Yeah, we'll expand on this after the post parade, but I like False Hope's chances quite a bit.
She is 7-1 right now. Here's the 8, Lady Milagro, first time on grass.
Yeah, the Dam was 0 for 4 in the turf. She's had 2 foals to try the turf. They were okay in the dirt, but they could not run on the turf.
Filly by First Dude on the grass for the first time. Next will be the 9. What are you waiting for?
Well, they may have to wait a while for her. She tried the turf once at 5.5 and just did no running, but it was a good field.
She will drop in class today to the 50,000. Next will be the 10 Love Unlimited.
She hit the wire with What Are You Waiting For when the two of them debuted in the same race at Saratoga, 11+ lengths behind the winner, Mystic Eyes, who's a player in the Matron this weekend.
Can they turn things around today? Here's 11 Vexed and Relaxed, stretching out.
Is it easy to be both vexed and relaxed? That's
I
my
don't
question.
know.
This horse drops down as well and stretches out. Okay numbers stretching out maidens for Bright Maker, but this one did no running first time out. Good connections.
And first time on the grass, Solid Tune.
This horse must have worked well on the turf. For this horse to be taking as much money as she is, there must be some kind of story on some turf.
Yeah, I don't have the Clocker report today, unfortunately.
Keisha,
I know.
you had all that time on the Throg's Neck.
I had all the time on the Throg's Neck to do it, I know.
You're busy reading license plates when you
I
could have been
was,
looking
you know,
at the
one
Clocker
lane
report.
was closed. It was one of those kinds of days. But one thing I was going to say, too, is one of the benefits of Saratoga is there is the opportunity to work on the turf. There's the opportunity to gallop on the infield turf as well when training up at Saratoga. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be some influence for the 12 Solid Tune. Taking a look at the 7 False Hope, though, a filly by Normandy Invasion. She was forward at a big price in that debut race and gets blinkers on today.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the 3 did no running, the 11 did no running in those races. Unlike the other horses in the turf, she did some running. Because first of all, she was close to the pace. It was a pace that, relative terms, was fairly quick. It's a pace that kind of came apart. Sarah Chrome was disqualified, is coming back, I believe, tomorrow. She was 3 wide in the first turn, 3 and 4 wide in the second turn, and it felt like Luis Saez, she acted badly, as Maggie pointed out. He was very wide. He didn't abuse her once she was clearly beaten. They kind of gave up, gets blinkers on, seemed to be behaving herself a little bit better. It was good stuff from Maggie talking about her. I think this is a horse that actually did do a little running first time out, much more than it may appear by just her finish. So I took a shot with her. Obviously, you have a lot of unknown quantities in here. I used some of the horses, the 5 on Maggie's say so, the 1 No Nanette, as well as the 12 with the money that she's taking as well. But I'm also live in the double, and I bet False Hope in this race. Like her chances.
I like it. 7-1. Nice price there. The number 3 opened the gate. However, we will see this one in start number 3 and taking a drop in class. What's the stat for Belmont?
Belmont does have good numbers, maiden special and maiden claimers in the turf. I wanted to point this out. And they have overperformed. For what it's worth, with 2-year-olds, he's 1 for 4 and 0 for 3 at Naira. So the numbers are not overly strong or overly strong in that case. But overall, he's done pretty well with this move. But I mean, you're taking a horse as the favorite that just did absolutely no running, better horses or not. And I'm very interested to see how that race that she comes out of ends up being. And I think we'll find out much more on Saturday because both those horses are players in there. Vagaries, who had a wide trip. Vagaries possibly ran as well as anybody, and maybe Sugar McGay's horse kind of ran off. Maybe she'll be better and more professional in her second start. And I think that race did collapse. I think she ran well also.
Open the gate. 4-1 now. Let's check in again with Maggie trackside, though.
We'll take a look at the daughter of Greenpoint Crusader, whose progeny so far have only had 3 starts on the turf. No success yet, but as Andy pointed out, there is turf on the bottom, and I thought she'd be able to handle the dirt, but I do think this surface change is a more positive move, and furthermore, it almost just feels like they were just kind of giving her a race first time out. You know, she was brought in with the training saddle. She didn't look all the way fit. She didn't look all the way clued in, and she just feels like a much more well-prepared animal this time around. I still am not sold on her getting this distance, at least in her second career start, but at least the surface change should play into her favor. But number 12, that is, Solid Tune, making her first start for the Bruce Levine barn, and they try to get her on the turf in both of her starts, and she, although she doesn't have much pedigree, she does have a turf hoof, so there's that. She is so much more developed than what she was first time out. I mean, this is a filly that completely lacked a hind end. She was just kind of very small and one-sided. And while she is somewhat short in stature, as you see her next to the pony there, she's so much more developed. She's 10 times stronger than what she was in that debut race. Now, I know she ran better going a mile while tracking the pace at Monmouth, but often we do see forwardly placed horses, no matter what distance, obviously, at Monmouth do well. I'm not sold on a mile and a 16th. daughter of Jimmy Creed, maybe she's able to do it, but just at least looking at her physically, she doesn't say mile and a 16th to me. But this switch to the turf course, as the board would suggest, is a positive one, Acacia.
All right, Maggie, 7-2 now on the number 12, Solid Tune, as she is now your tepid favorite. The pick 6 kicking off here. We have a good-sized pool to deal with, as well as these 2-year-old fillies move towards the starting gate, and pretty wide open board still. The number 1, No Nanette No, does have John Velasquez and filly by Greenpoint Crusader, as we talked about. Should be intriguing to see how this one takes to the turf.
Greenpoint Crusader was very, very impressive in winning the Champagne, albeit in a sloppy track. Things didn't go well after that. Source had a lot of promise. It's not a ton of turf pedigree. The dam did win the turf, wasn't that strong, but it's George Weaver, and this horse is a price if you like it. I tell you what, I am really scared of the money that Solid Tune is taking me. She's been bet from the top of the got. She's now 3-1. I mean, that's a tough post. I have to think there's a story on this horse. I bet the 7, False Hope. I used a little 1, a little 5, but mostly the 12, Solid Tune, scares me.
Well, I will say No Nanette No is half to Sir Alton, who was grade 1 placed in Jamaica, if that changes your mind.
It means a lot to me. Thank you. Those Jamaican races. Have you been the track in Jamaica?
No, I have not. No.
We gotta go. Greatest racing fans in the world.
Yeah.
Where would we be without the Jamaicans? Are you kidding me?
It was
guys,
cool.
Every day at the New York tracks is Jamaica Day.
Absolutely, and we love it.
Yep.
Green behind the starting gate is the number 4, London Pearl. We'll see as the assistant starters have their hands full to get her into the starting gate. The rest of these 2-year-old fillies load in. Race 4, 2-year-old fillies, everybody looking for the first win of their career coming up here in the 4th. London Pearl giving the Great Coup a little bit of trouble, but in she goes now. Here's John and Brielle with the call.
Waiting for False Hope and Solid Tune. There in the gate. And they're off. From the inside, No Nanette No going for the lead. Lady Milagro now moves up, along with Vexed and Relaxed. And on the extreme outside, it is Solid Tune. Lady Milagro has the lead. Vexed and Relaxed is running in second, with a Solid Tune sitting just off them in third. No Nanette No now down on the inside and back in 4th. Then comes What Are You Waiting For? The gray in between horses in 5th. Love Unlimited on the outside is 6th. Amazing Dream down on the inside in 7th. Followed by False Hope in 8th. Open the gate, and trailing the field is London Pearl in 10th, and they're midway up the backstretch after a quarter in 24 and 3. Lady Milagro in front, 3/4 of a length. Vexed and Relaxed putting up the pressure here in second, and on the outside is Solid Tune next in third. Then it's the trio of Love Unlimited, What Are You Waiting For? And No Nanette No at the fence, the half mile in 49 seconds. Farther back, it is Amazing Dream, who's running in 7th. Alongside is False Hope in 8th. Then Open the Gate, and London Pearl is at the back. They're around the far turn. Lady Milagro by ahead. Vexed and Relaxed in between horses. Solid Tune now moves up on the outside from third. 3/4 in 1:12 and 4 as they come for the top of the stretch. Lady Milagro closest to the rail. On the outside, it is Solid Tune in second. Vexed and Relaxed now back in third. Then No Nanette No far outside. It is Open the Gate as the field comes past the 8th pole. Lady Milagro trying to do it here in front running fashion. She is in front. Open the Gate continues to gain on the outside, but Lady Milagro has it won here. Open the Gate comes on to get second. Then Solid Tune and No Nanette No.
Lady Milagro with the win. Filly by First Dude takes them every step of the way, and there were some happy people here at Belmont Park about this victory.
That was the second win in the card for Eric Hansel, getting it done. A lot of cheering for this one. No pedigree to speak of whatsoever, but this horse took the turf, and give Eric credit for going the lead here and widening. Solid Tune chased a little bit, opened the gate, made a run from last to get second in here, but nobody else did any running whatsoever.
8. Did the 3 get up for second, I believe? Yeah, 8, 3, 12 late as the number 8, Lady Milagro. Croquel, she took some pressure. It looked like she might be swallowed up late, but that big leggy filly by First Dude getting the win, and Eric Cancel with the victory. As you mentioned, second win for him today. 8-3-12-1. She certainly appreciated the stretch out and the change of surface today. We'll bring you prices after this break, and we'll also talk about some of the important preps for the Breeders' Cup Classic that took place this weekend. Art Collector making it 3 in a row in the Grade 1 Woodward, and Knicks Go in an important step towards the Breeders' Cup, picking up that victory in the Lucas Classic.
Speightstown. Munning. Echo Town.
It's Echo Town for Joe Talamo, and Echo Town raced away.
And Echo Town is drawing away in the stretch. Echo Town wins the Allen Turkin Stakes.
A sire line so prolific, it repeats itself. Echo Town.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Acacia Courtney, Andy Serling, and Maggie Wolfendale. Happy to have you along with us as race number 4 is in the books. Went to the number 8, Lady Milagro, piloted to victory by Eric Cancel for the second win of the day for that rider, as we head down to the winner's circle for more with Maggie.
And so pleased to be joined here with co-owner Mandy Lederer with Lady Milagro, the human version of Lady Milagro. And Mandy, this is a very special win for you.
I can't believe I am being interviewed by you. So I am truly honored, and I am so overwhelmed with emotions right now, as you know.
This is a special win because Lady Milagro did not have an easy beginning to life.
No, she suffered from botulism as a baby and was in intensive care for 3 weeks, and we didn't think she was going to make it. So this is truly a miracle. And then after losing Tri St. Lorenzo a month ago, this is her half sister, so it's unbelievable, and it means so much to me.
As it should, because you've campaigned the entire family, and not much turf pedigree to speak of. No. Did look like a turf horse, to be fair, but she relished it out there.
She just went for the lead and just you know, the gods brought her home, and I truly believe in Enzo had a big play in this one. So thank you so much, Maggie, for interviewing me. What a pleasure.
My absolute pleasure. You can just see how much you love your horses, and it spills over, and it's very infectious.
I mean, this is a claiming race, but, you know, any race to me is like the Kentucky Derby, so I am absolutely, truly honored. And to win at Belmont Park, my dad would be so proud.
Man, Mandy, enjoy.
Love you. Thank you.
Mandy Ladera, as you can see, Acacia, you know, when owners like that put so much into the game and take care of their horses, when you get wins here at Belmont, they're always big.
Oh, that was so awesome. You love to see that. You love to see that emotion, and couldn't agree more with Mandy. Maybe it's just a claiming race, Andy, but it's difficult to get a win like this here at Belmont or anywhere.
Winning is winning.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if you're in the race, you want to win. And they were very excited, as they should be. And this was a nice win for them.
Yeah.
Congrats. And I'm going to guess this was one of many horses that Carlos Martin really liked. This one won.
$14 winner, Lady Milagro, trained by Carlos Martin. As big congratulations are in order to the connections who bred that filly as well. Meanwhile, this past weekend, we saw some important steps towards the Breeders' Cup Classic for some of the major contenders, both here and in other state jurisdictions. And as we take a look at some of the Classic top contenders alphabetically, we saw Art Collector here in New York really take himself a step forward with that victory in the Woodward.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Art Collector and Medina Spirit, as well as Knicks Go, is they're all speed types. And they're best in front. Now, I think Art Collector can rate a little bit, but in my opinion, Art Collector should have been favored in this Woodward. I believe they're the wrong favorite in Maxfield. At some point, his fan base is going to have to accept that he may just not be quite as good as they had hoped he would be. He's still a very nice horse. But Art Collector had the run of the race. He was able to control on the front end. He's turned into a very, very nice horse. His former trainer, Tom Drury, deserves a lot of credit, as well as his current trainer, Bill Mott. He's a really nice horse. Now, if he were mine, I'd probably be pointing towards the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I think it's a better spot for him. I don't know how he's going to deal with Knicks Go up front and put him away and win that race to 1.25 miles, but I guess they want to shoot for the big one. As far as Maxfield, he'd be running in the Breeders' Cup Mile if he was my horse as well. Godolphin's also already got Essential Quality, who is going to vie for favoritism in that Breeders' Cup Classic, and he's just a better horse, and they have similar running styles. So I don't know. They're going to keep going forward with Maxfield. I don't think he's good enough, but he has run well in some of these races. Art Collector, he's really been the horse of the second half.
Won his last 3 starts, including picking up the first Grade 1 of his career in the Grade 1 Woodward. Meanwhile, out in Kentucky in the Lucas Classic, we saw Knicks Go, and it is such an interesting point. As you mentioned, the 3 Breeders' Cup Prep winners that we saw this weekend, Medina and Spirit included with these 2, all like to go out to the front, and that should make the Breeders' Cup Classic very interesting going that 1.25 mile distance.
Now, whether or not they have the kind of speed Knicks Go has is another story.
Fast,
and one thing about Brad Cox and Knicks Go, they're not taking any prisoners. They are going. If other guys want to go fast with him, then so be it. But he's not rating them. He's not winning that race sitting second. And Brad Cox, I think the reason that he has turned this horse around is that he understood that this is a horse that wants to be free running on the front end. He has been effective in 2-turn races where he hasn't been effective in 1-turn races, and he can control. Medina Spirit, he's not as good a horse when he's not in the front end, and we've seen that with his big wins. The Awesome Again, obviously, but the Kentucky Derby on the front end, when they've tried to rate him, he has not been the same racehorse. Art Collector can stalk a bit, but he's not a horse that's going to go that slowly. Will they put enough pressure on Knicks Go? Will that combined with 1.25 miles make him extremely vulnerable and make the horses like Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality, the top 3-year-olds, perhaps beat him? I'm staying on that Hot Rod Charlie bandwagon.
I like it. And it is another interesting conversation, too, about the established older horses versus those up-and-coming 3-year-olds, too.
Well, you know, one of the unfortunate aspects of the Breeders' Cup, and not the only one, is it's turned into making 3-year-olds the only time that they face older horses, seems to be in the Breeders' Cup. It used to be they would all meet in the fall, and that's one of the things that made the fall racing, especially at Belmont Park, so great. Now people spend their years bobbing and weaving and dodging, and they meet together in the Breeders' Cup, but at least we'll have that.
Looking forward to that matchup, that's for sure. As we take a look at what's coming up in the 5th race next here at Belmont, here's a look at the field. This will be a maiden claiming race for the New York bred fillies, the 2-year-olds, 6 furlongs on the main track. Andy will be able to talk about this 5th race, but he'll be doing so with Greg Wolf. who's coming up next on the set. This is time for me to say goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow. Look forward to it.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Hope you all stay with us as there's a lot more great racing still to come. There's a look at the number 3 Saratoga Kisses in the paddock as we kick off the late pick 5 here at beautiful Belmont Park. Stay tuned. Greg Wolf coming up on the desk to take you the rest of the way.
Daredevil, returning to stud on U.S. soil. The only first crop sire to see 2 offspring win the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 1 Preakness Stakes in the same year. She dares the devil, taking the Kentucky Oaks and the Grade 2 Azeri Stakes, and champion Swiss Skydiver, winning the Preakness and the Grade 1 Beholder Mile Stakes. With more exciting prospects on the track and multiple 6-figure sales in the ring, Daredevil's career is just getting started, only at Lane's End.
Considering horse ownership? Get off the bench and get in the game. We have one goal: make racehorse ownership a slam dunk.
It's Maxim Rate close to home. Maxim Rate has won the game lead.
A terrific finish in the Woody Stevens that goes to drain the clock by a head.
Slam Dunk Racing. Come win with us.
Just imagine the horse you'll breed.
Street Sense will need some running room.
All the things you dream about. Plan for. Darley. Just imagine.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont and Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
My favorite race is the Pilgrim of 1992. I'm going to run Dr. Elfus. It's with Eddie Maple. Jim Ryan calls me up the morning of entries and said, listen, I wouldn't mind running a Watt in that race. And I'm like, really? I said, well, let me see what I can do. You know, I remember having lunch with Mr. Drago. He said to me, I'd rather not be in an entry with another horse in a race. And I said, well, Alan, listen, he's still a maiden, you know, trying to get a check, just trying to get a piece of it. I don't think he beats your horse.
And they're off. Dr. Alfuz comes out running and gets directly to the lead.
Dr. Elfus is just cruising on the lead here with Eddie. At this point, you know, I think I've got a great shot to win it with Dr. Elfus, but at the same time, Awad's running a big race.
Moving toward the top of the stretch, it's still Dr. Alfuz who turns for home. And his mate Awad is right there. They're 1-2 now as the field turns for home.
I'm thinking, oh crap, if this horse beats this other horse, I might be in trouble. They're dueling with each other. You know, which one's gonna win it? I mean, I'm thinking at this time, like, holy mackerel, I'm gonna be 1-2.
Dr. Alfuz determined at the rail. Awad resolute on the outside, and Awad prevails by a determined head.
Now, I'm supposed to be elated. I'm walking downstairs thinking, I can't believe I just ran 1-2 in a stake, and I might have blown an owner over this. Because Awad was a maiden, nobody came for the race. Jim didn't show up or anyone. That was a turning point in Awad's career, and it went on to be bigger and better things. It was a defining moment in my career, winning the Pilgrim. I think a defining moment for Faye and I, that we could have a stable that could be successful in New York.
Hello, you have reached the house that Awad bought. We're not here right now, so if you leave your name and a number and a brief message, we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
He did so much for us. He did so much for my career. Those horses don't come around very often.
Greg Wolf in for Keisha Courtney. There's David Donk. He's going to send out Beautiful Banks in this race that kicked off the late pick 5. I always love seeing these stories and these runners that change the lives of so many people.
No, it's a great point. Nawad had such a huge effect. He was such a terrific performer for a long time. The horse I'd love to talk to Dave Donk about is Incurable Optimist. He was a 2-year-old who I believe ran a 110 buyer in winning the Pilgrim as a 2-year-old, winning by like 10 lengths. He unfortunately had, I believe, a tendon injury. He just never really came back effectively. But he was a brilliant, brilliant racehorse, unfortunately, only for his 2-year-old year.
Well, David Donk in this race, we'll see. Beautiful Banks. This race, if it's not Saratoga Kisses or one of the first times, if it's not one of the first timers or that horse, anyone can step up in this race.
Yeah,
but it seems like, did you see the 3 as being a standout?
Yeah. I mean, he ran a figure that was good last time. He was 4 wide against a gold rail here opening weekend. I'm not writing about him at 4 to 5, but I think she is the one to beat. Did you think the 10 back up the Brinks might be a little bit interesting second time out?
Yeah, Classy Edition obviously did very little running, but that horse came back and won the Joseph A. Jimma by 8 lengths. Give that horse another shot. And Jose Ortiz, the fact that he shows up.
Yeah, I'm looking at a little 310 here, a little reverse, but mostly 310.
11 minutes to post. This race, again, kicks off the late pick 5. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Greg. And I do think Saratoga Kisses is much the filly to beat here because it's not like the first-time starters are taking that much play, but we'll take a look at 2 of them, more positioned towards the inside, beginning with number 2 in here, Half Birthday. Half Birthday has a whole lot of turf pedigree, yet she shows up going 6 furlongs here on the main track. She looks like a turf sprinter, but she's on the main track. She looks pretty fit. She could look a little bit more tucked up. She's a little bit green, just kind of has that more bewildered look to her, like, oh, what's happening here? The ears going back and forth. She's not taking much money, and I think rightfully so, though she does, the one thing I will say is she looks strong from behind. Always like to see that with my horses. And possibly, actually, the most interesting first-time starters, the outside 2 aren't taking much money, is number 4, My First Love, comes in here for trainer Tyler Service from Parks, a daughter of First Samurai. They've been kind of cheaper horses, but they stick on the racetrack for a while, and they seem to run on any surface. She's been in a field of a lot of horses acting up. She's been really professional, really has her wits about her, and she's the one shipping in here. So she has that hurdle to overcome too. She's got some size to her. Does she look 100% fit in the face of several of these that have run? No. But like I said, of the firsters, she's the one I like the most, as we'll take a look at some others that have run. Number 1, Uni Loves a Fight, will try the dirt for the first time, a daughter of Unified, who has gotten off to a decent start as a sire, but all of them mostly on the dirt, though on the bottom side it is more of a turf pedigree. But she actually looks more like a dirt horse to me, and she has strengthened tremendously. A little bit so small and backwards, but really filled out that hind end. It's just put on a ton of muscle mass. So just one thing I noticed and appreciate seeing. As we'll move on to number 10, the horse that you guys think is interesting. Me too. Back up the Brinks, broke in and immediately was kind of steadied back. She saved ground, but then, she switched out the lane. She wasn't really persevered with. I, too, noticed the Jose Ortiz angle. She's a solid filly, but 2, trainer Antonio Arriaga, not really known for 2-year-olds, for debuters, more known for the work he's done with the horses that he has claimed. So while I wish she did look a bit more fit, she just looks that much more solid. So she's a good-looking type. If she can run it all here, as those front wraps do go on here today, I think she might show up in this spot, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We're going to come on to the track for post parade here in a moment. See that pick 5 pool, 133,000 and growing. The 10, the 11, the 12, the 11, the 12, first-timers outside. And yet this one, just by the fact that she faced a really good one in the debut, and you can with 2-year-olds that first start, you can often give them a mulligan.
I agree. She was badly interfered with early in the race. She sort of came in and bumped hard the horse inside of her, and then she got totally cut off by the horse outside of her, and I really thought it cost her a legitimate 2 to 3 lengths. Now, she lost by 24 lengths, so I don't think it was the difference between winning or losing, but you got a 2-year-old first-time starter and has that happen right away, they're going to throw in the towel, and I think that's really what happened all around. So she could have some speed as well, and I think she could be forward. I don't have any illusions. In all likelihood, Sarah Kisses is going to win this race. She ran well last time out, and she was chasing wide, and that was a time period the rail was very strong. The winner wired on the rail. There's no reason to knock her. Is Irad Ortiz maybe getting his 3,000th win? Is that what we believe?
We'll find out. Let's take a look at the race that has her as the 4-5 favorite.
I mean,
Back at September here at Belmont on the 16th.
Opening day. That all-important opening day, and this was the day, the whole week, the rail was very strong in the dirt, but particularly if you look at the results and some horses winning at prices that were down inside, and it's a good 3 to 4 wide in the outside, never stopped running. I mean, a 50 buyer is not going to win any stake races, but it might be effective in a race like this. We'll see what the firsters do. She's improving, and I think she's capable maybe of running a buyer closer to 60 based on this effort.
That's the thing. You look at it, she does keep grinding away, and she just keeps on coming, which that is impressive. The winner of this race actually had to deal with some heat up front, so that was impressive that Amore Fire hung on. But if any of these firsters can show some ability, she's going to need to improve, isn't she?
Well, it depends, yeah, but we'll see. I mean, you are talking about maiden claimer, first time out. Maggie had some good things to say about the 4, My First Love. La Sua Pasta, is that the 11? Is that how you pronounce that? La Sua Pasta. But amazingly enough, this sort of happens. It's Gravy, who's a solid New York bred for these
Stakes
connections.
placed on dirt and turf.
I believe is running tomorrow or Saturday. They're all in my brain somewhere. I looked up stats. Kelly Breen with 2-year-old first-time stars and maiden claimers in dirt sprints. He's 0 for 13 over the last 5 years, only 3 hitting the board. Doesn't mean he can't win, but Kelly Breen's a dangerous trainer, in danger with firsters, but not in these situations.
And meanwhile, My First Love, the dam produced a 14-time winner who was a minor stakes winner. That one's at 14 to 1 on the board, but not a great sign that she's taking no money right now, right?
No, it's not a good sign. I am not familiar with the rider who I believe is riding, but is a rider that's had some success out of town, and maybe that's one of the reasons. But I agree. I mean, isn't this a race where you're looking at firsters? There's a little money for the 2-half birthday for Brad Cox, and dare I say it, 10 Strike Racing. We'll see. Brad Cox, maiden claiming first-time star at dirt sprints, his numbers aren't that great in these spots either.
3 to 5 is a little
It's
beyond.
a little overboard. I agree, because you've got firsters that are, as you say, it's not like the 3 is that good.
Yeah.
You know, I could understand if there was no firsters in here, but you got unknown qualities, and unknown qualities from decent trainers. It's not like from trainers that don't win.
We will kick things off with a filly trying dirt for the first time. Orlando Notabarn, Dylan Davis having a tremendous meet.
Uni loves a fight. Okay, well, tries the dirt after 2 bad races on the turf. We'll see.
Half birthday, this is the Brad Cox first-time starter by Freud.
It's really much more of a turf pedigree on this one, so I'll be interested to see if they try turf after today's race.
Almost double her morning line. Here's the odds-on favorite for Rudy Rodriguez.
I agree, Greg. She is getting a little overbet in here, but she is the horse to beat.
I thought an intriguing first-timer. My First Love.
Not going to knock that coming in here, the New York bred from out of town.
Again, the dam produced a Deep Explorer who was a minor stakes winner, won 14 times. Beautiful Banks, David Donk, Manny Franco.
She lost to a very impressive first-timer last time for John Kimmel that's going to try the turf in the Matron this weekend.
12 to 1 on this one coming out of that same race, the Making My Move race.
Finished just behind them. I watched it. I didn't see anything from either one of these 2 horses to suggest that you can expect them to run better other than experience.
That's the 10 we're looking at. Back up the Brinks, 22 to 1 first time out, was beat by Classy Edition. Won that Joseph A. Jimma next out.
She had some trouble in there, and I expect she's going to be more forward in here. I'm trying a 3-10 exact, a little reverse.
Going to backtrack here to the 8, I believe, at 35 to 1. This is Right the Check, Street Sense filly.
She comes out of the same race that the number 10 comes out of as well. She did a similar no running in there, and even worse.
Here's the 11, La Sua Pasta, first Samurai filly for Kelly Breen.
With this warm-up, did we expect this horse maybe to be forward here?
Jose Lizcano there at 8 to 1, and then another first-timer on the outside for Bob Glaceris, an anchor down filly, lost anchor, Javier Castellano.
1/2 to 5 foals that just did no running, and anchor down. Shockingly, was another horse, sire, trained by Todd Pletcher. One of the 14,000 sires he has out here. I think this is a rare race. There aren't a lot of Todd Pletchers in here. That actually is the only one. It's very rare to find a 2-year-old maiden race with only one horse sired by a horse trained by Todd Pletcher.
You can play this Pick 5 by getting signed up with NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com, download the app, and take advantage of that $200 deposit match bonus with that code MATCH200 for new members, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Terrific weekend of action coming up as we're about a month out from championship weekend here.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks from Saturday, which makes it like a month. It's exactly, I guess, a little less, actually, right? 30 days from today. 29 if you include Friday.
So 2 minutes to post in this spot. 4-5 favorite here. We'll see if Saratoga Kisses can repeat what she did back on September 16th here at Belmont. That may be good enough to win in this spot unless one of these first-timers shows a little bit of talent. We will find out. Look beyond the rest of this car. I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
In race 8, I thought the important one is going to be really tough to beat.
I'm not taking a stand against this horse. I mean, that last race, and I had wanted this horse to get back on dirt because the prior dirt race was actually very, very good. Was against the track that day. She was too good last time. I realized these are more dirt horses. It's 6 furlongs, not 5.5, but she runs close to her last race. They can't beat her in here.
I agree.
Can't beat her.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look at one of the other first-time starters. That is number 11, La Sua Pasta. Your pasta, his pasta, my pasta. Very bad at Italian, but it's something like that. As she is, as you guys were mentioning, a half-sister to It's Gravy. And as Kelly Breen's assistant, John Atfield, said to me, he said, there's a reason why she's in this spot, but if she has a little bit of heart, or the heart of her brother, then she might be okay. I'm not going with that first time out. She was very green with the pony. We saw that exuberant warm-up because she was trying to flip over when she was attached to the pony. She was pretty green acting. Jose Lascano continuing to have his hands full. Now she's settled down, gotten all that nervous energy out of her, and has willingly gone to the pony, which, you know, Kelly Breen has a pony. The pony that I use in the afternoon. So it's not as if she should have been green with the pony. So she's very small. She's very unassuming looking. Look, looks aren't everything in racing. I get it, but it's my job to judge them and try to judge them by what they look like physically. She just looks a bit backwards and not totally fit. As you can see how small she is relative to her lead pony. But Greg, she is one of the ones of the firsters taking some money, but with that, she's just pushed me that much more towards Saratoga Kisses.
All right, Maggie, thanks. 4-5 on this 3 here. Irad Ortiz Jr. Certainly the one to beat with what she showed in that last start. Even I don't know, that debut was against better. Probably even if she'd only run that debut, I would think she'd be favored in here. But she's improved since that.
She has, and you know, for me, I like it when horses run well when they're against the racetrack. And I think we've seen a very fair racetrack since opening week here, but we saw a pronounced bias that opening week, and she ran well against it. But you know, listen, she's got a lot of unknown quantities in here. You're seeing some money coming in right now for the 11 La Sua Pasta. She's the first getting bet. There's some money for the 2. Brad Cox always going to take some money half birthday, but it's not like it's going to take a stakes effort to beat this horse.
Yeah, not at all. 3-5. I would tread lightly with that. Rudy Rodriguez, Irad Ortiz Jr.
I would lean heavily on her in the pick 5 to start it out, you know, and stuff. I'd probably have a little bit of a backup with the 10. But the majority of my play would be on this horse in the pick 5. A tricky sequence going ahead, but you and I both think the important one is going to be very tough to beat in the 8th race. In the last race, and the horse who gets it off the also eligible, 13, hit the nail. I mean, that horse might just be better than those horses.
Yeah, big drop in class for that one. Pick 5 pools, $278,000 and growing. Final chances to get involved here. You can do so again at NyraBets. Begins with this New York bred $50,000 maiden claiming event, and that is the big favorite, this 3-horse. Saratoga Kisses. She is unquestionably the one to beat. She's 3-5 with Irad Ortiz Jr.
She should be somewhat forward, if not in front. Maybe the 5 or 6 have some speed. The only dirt race today was dominating the front end, but by the favorite in a small field.
Here's one of a few first-timers, this 4. that are intriguing if they can step up and show a little ability in here that maybe can spring the upset. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial will kick off this late pick 5 here on this Thursday card from Belmont.
Waiting for Beautiful Banks and Lost Anchor. They're all in. And they're off. From the inside, it's Half Birthday and Saratoga Kisses. Those two are heads apart from the extreme outside. Lost Anchor has now moved up and has taken third. Then comes Back Up the Brinks, who's running in fourth, followed by My First Love in fifth. Uni Loves a Fight down at the rail in sixth. Beautiful Banks is next in seventh. Then comes Bells on Her Toes in eighth. It's 4 lengths back to the 2 trailers, La Sua Pasta and Write the Check. Quarter in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Half Birthday by a head. The favorite, Saratoga Kisses, now draws right alongside. And the two of them are in even terms as they come for the top of the stretch. They've opened up 3 lengths on Lost Anchor next in third. My First Love down at the rail in fourth. And Back Up the Brinks is fifth. Saratoga Kisses has now taken over. It's Saratoga Kisses in front, and she has opened up. Half mile 1 in 46 and 2. Saratoga Kisses has built a 7 length lead now. And the big favorite is going to roll home here. She is kissing the rest of the field goodbye. Saratoga Kisses breaks her maiden here at Belmont and did it by about 7 lengths, and it turned out to be very close for second between Half Birthday and the late closing Write the Check.
Mr. 3000 and in style, dominant win here for the odds-on favorite, Irad Ortiz Jr., the man of the moment.
Yeah, big win for Irad. Congratulations, 3,000. He started riding about 20 minutes ago, and he's won. I mean, literally,
true.
2010, I believe, is when he started riding. 2011 is when he lost his bug, and in 10 short years, he's won a heck of a lot of races. So congrats to Irad, and Saratoga Kiss is just too good for these 3 to 5 and 1, like a 3 to 5 shot should. It looks like possibly I took the wrong one out of the classic edition races. It does feel like the long shot, Write the Check, might have gotten up for second over the first or Half Birthday who did all the dirty work.
Oh, so if it is, that is a tough beat for second. Keep your eyes on the wire for second.
Ooh, can't tell at all.
Very tight.
I can't tell.
2 horse was 6 to 1. The 8 was 63 to 1. That's how you create value in an exacta.
Yes. If you have the 8 for second, I wish you the best of luck in this photo.
But this performance from Saratoga Kiss is dominant.
She was too good for these.
And about as easy as you could hope for Irad Ortiz Jr. We'll make it official who did get second in this race. The photo continues. Andy saying goodbye. Mig's going to be stepping in after a timeout. We'll see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow. Look forward to it.
All right.
Enjoy the MiG.
Be
It's
back.
right here.
You got posted, by the way. It was the 63 to 1 shot. Getting second, 3, 8, 2, and 6. When we come back, we will talk Althika trying to keep that perfect record here in the States going. And the Grade 1 First Lady at Keeneland. Stay with us. We'll return Mig joining me right after a timeout.
Tapit. His dominant reign as America's top stallion will leave an indelible mark on the breed, forging a legacy that will last forever. His impeccable resume includes a veritable roll call of champions. The only top 5 sire 10 of the past 11 years. Tapit, standing strong at Gainesway.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us. Saratoga Kisses, as easy as could be to kick off this late pick 5, goes off at odds-on for the victory, 3-5 in the end. Irad Ortiz Jr., number 3,000 in his incredible career. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, pleased to be joined here, Greg, by Mr. 3000, Irad Ortiz, and getting to it quickly here on this Thursday. Saratoga Kisses, you couldn't win more emphatically, and as Rudy Rodriguez, a trainer of her, just said, you got 1,000 with him and now 3,000.
Well, I'm very excited. Thanks the owner and all the connections, all the trainers for support me. They support me a lot from day one, so without them, anything will be possible, so thank God.
Irad, you're a 3-time winning Eclipse rider. You've won countless Breeders' Cups. Kentucky Derby still missing from the mantelpiece. Is that one of the goals? What are some of the other goals to reach?
Yeah, of course, one of my goals, honestly, and many more races, but it's a great race. It's the most important race, I think, for a jockey, the Kentucky Derby, but we keep trying. We know we don't gonna rest until we got it, so we're gonna keep working hard.
The one thing I've noticed from you, and I've watched you for 11 years now, is that your energy level, you still want it. I mean, more than anybody. You're such a competitor.
Yeah, I'm very competitive. Honestly, thank God I'm healthy, and I love what I do. What I can tell you, I love come here and ride every single race, every single day, because that's what I love. So thanks for all the support, honestly.
All right, here's the 3,000 more. Congrats.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
All right, Irad Ortiz, one of the superstars in this game, Greg, and reaching yet another milestone.
It's incredible what he has accomplished in a relatively short time in this game. Saratoga Kisses, trained by Rudy Rodriguez, Parkland Thoroughbreds. With me on set, champion jockey, Richard Migliori. To you, what makes Irad Ortiz Jr. stand out?
His physicality. His desire, and Maggie just touched on it, his enthusiasm, brings it every day, high energy level, very strong finisher, the whole package. He really has the whole package, loves what he does, and it shines through. And at the pace he's at, so that was 3,000. I finished my career with 4,450. He'll pass me in about 3 years.
He is racking up wins at an incredible rate. 3 Eclipse Awards already. A lot of big wins, but yeah, that one race that everybody wants. He talked about it with Maggie, hoping that there's a Kentucky Derby in his future. If he keeps riding like he has been, you would think there would be one with his name on it out there. First Lady Stakes, Grade 1, and we'll see if the dominance for Godolphin can continue with Althika, who has come to the States and just been sensational, winning the Just a Game, and the Grade 1 Diana, back-to-back Grade 1s at Belmont and Saratoga.
She's been so good. She had Mike Smith, Hall of Famer, Manny Franco last time in the Diana, who gave her an absolutely picture-perfect trip. She was a little bit wide the second turn, but made sure he had secured room. And she's resolute. She keeps coming. She doesn't take a backward step. Now she gets Jamie Spencer. We saw Jamie Spencer win the Jockey Club Derby here for Godolphin a few weeks back. But honestly, in situations like this, particularly a tighter turf course like Keeneland, it is a 7/8 turf course, I prefer American riders. They just have more experience with these kind of courses and shorter stretches and, how to time your run. Now, she's very good, but I actually downgrade her, and that's no knock on Jamie Spencer. He's a very good rider, maybe not as familiar with those kind of courses.
She'll try and make it 3 consecutive Grade 1s in a row since coming to the U.S. here. And yeah, for the first time since coming to the States, it will be a European rider on her back. First Lady Stakes, look at this field that is going to line up. 13 will sign on for this one on Saturday at Keeneland. And you're getting, because of what she has done, and she's only 7-2 in this race, some big numbers elsewhere, including on some Chad Brown runners that have pretty impressive resumes.
Well, it's a big field. The trips are going to make a difference, certainly, and it's laden with quality. So, it's hard to take too short a price on anybody because trips are going to be a big factor.
Princess Grace, interesting to see how good she can be. She's 6 for 7 lifetime.
Yeah.
Can she take it to the next level in Grade 1 company? We'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah, really great race, and a race that you'll get paid if you have an opinion.
Meanwhile, take a look at the Keeneland Turf Mile, purse of $750,000 in this Grade 1. And the WinStar Mint Million, it was won by Pixelate. The top 3 runners coming out of this race. Some like it Hot Brown, Monarch's Glen as well, but it was Pixelate who would win at about 9-2 in this race.
A very hot pace that day, and get Joel Rosario, who's on pace to break Garrett Gomez's number of stakes win for a single year, gets Tyler Gaffalione, leading rider at the recently concluded Churchill Downs meeting. Always get a little bit lost looking at the races at Kentucky Downs where the wire is. Feels like there's the wire, wait, no, not yet, and then they almost switch camera frames and go to another one, but certainly got the right setup, Pixelate did at Kentucky Downs.
Part of this 2-day Breeders' Cup Challenge Pick 6. By the way, Order of Australia, last year's shocking upset winner at 73-1 for Aidan O'Brien of the Breeders' Cup Mile, going to be in this group as well. Vosburgh kicks it off. We'll talk about the Vosburgh a little bit later on in the show, and a potential superstar lining up against Firenze Fire. Up next, it's the Pick 4 from Belmont Park. We'll set the stage when we come back.
Undefeated Grade 1 winner Mastery was a multiple graded stakes winner at 2, including this victory in the Los Alamitos Cash Call Futurity. At 3, he sizzled in the San Felipe Stakes. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales ring, and his first runners are hitting the track. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Good Magic's in front. Good Magic pulls away from Somomini. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it.
The champ is back. Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
800,000, 75, 875, 8.5. Pete, 775,000. Thank you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Welcome to America's Day at the Races. Those on FS2 already with us, and those just joining us on Valley Sports Southern California and San Diego. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. I'm Greg Wolf. Great to be with you as we kick off another week of action here in Elmont, New York. Live action here on this card coming up from Belmont, the late pick 4 beginning next. And with me to talk through it all is champion jockey Richard Migliore, who I'll bring in here in a moment. Our feature race we're going to touch on here in a second, this 8th race, Mig. New York Threads, an allowance optional claiming group, and the important one, it was a race that was supposed to be on the grass. It got taken off, and maybe that was a blessing in disguise for Connections, because this filly ran a lights-out performance, and I think off that now you're going to see dirt going forward. And look, if she can repeat what she did in that race, she should have her way with this group.
Yeah, I mean, she was good on turf, so you can see why they stuck to it, but she had shown good races on dirt before. This was a breakthrough performance. I mean, she just really ran away from them, showed good speed. Beautiful Karen chasing her. The fact that Beautiful Karen came back to win her next start after being soundly defeated here, I think just complements an important one. And yeah, I think dirt is definitely in her immediate future.
This was a huge effort. She got a 96 buyer speed figure. Beautiful Karen way back, crossing the wire third, and as you mentioned, would come back and win out of that race. And Beautiful Karen going to line up against her again today. She's quick. She can be forwardly placed. Can she turn the tables, in your estimation?
Well, I think she's relegated to being in that chase mode again. I just don't think she's as quick as the Important One. And the way Important One ran last time under Jose Lezcano, who has the mount back, why would you do anything different? Just let her roll out of there and make everybody else adjust around you.
That will be the 8th. It's part of this late pick 4 sequence that, again, is starting in this very next race. Let's take a look at what we have coming up for you. Remaining on the program, presented by Claiborne Farm, races 6 through 9 comprise this late pick 4. And that 8th, the one we were talking about, our feature with the Important One for Steve Asmussen, Bloom Racing, homebred for Bloom Racing in that New York bred race. Jose Lezcano will be aboard. You can play this pick 4 and all the action we bring you each and every day on the program by getting signed up right there with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, and take advantage of that $200 sign-up bonus for new members with that promo code MATCH200. Race 6 will kick off this pick 4 sequence. It's on the turf. Widener Turf Course, $40,000 claiming race, and Forever Mo. Wow, I'm a little surprised. The favorite at 5-2 right now.
It's a drop in class, huh?
Yeah, coming out of an allowance optional 80 race, down for 40. 5-2 favorite with Javier Castellano off the layoff. That was back on June 5th, the last time we saw this 5-year-old. For more, let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And I suppose it's a good sign that he is taking all that money with the layoff and the drop in class. The big question is it a suspicious drop in class off of a virtual non-effort in his last race back here in June? He does have those 4 workouts coming into here. So he looks fit to me. He looks strong. He looks like a happy horse. So if, whatever issue that has prevented him from being at the races throughout turf season, if he can get over it, he fits very nicely with this group. And if he runs one of his better races, which it looks as though to me, at least observing him in here in the paddock, he's going to be able to do, he's going to win this race. As we'll move on to number 7, Hieroglyphics, as he comes off of a similar type of layoff too. He was actually meant to run the last week at Saratoga on September 3rd. He was a late scratch at the gate upon advice of the veterinarian. And I mean, I didn't really take that big of a look at him on the track, but I did like what I saw in the paddock, in that he's a horse that typically, and I mean, look, he's 7 now, but going back to when he was younger, he would periodically in certain races, he would wash out and just have that very nervous appearance. He didn't back on September 3rd. He doesn't today again. We'll pay closer attention to how he warms up though here. He looks like a healthy horse. Does he look like ultimately like a totally fit horse? No. So I just wish he looked a little bit tucked up overall here, Greg, for this return to the races.
All right, Maggie, our post break coming up. This one has won 4 of his last 6 starts, 8 for 29 lifetime. And let's take a look at his most recent effort back on May 23rd. Won this race, edging out Smile Bryan, who came back and ran big at Saratoga.
Yeah, but he was claimed for 25 that day. It's prime turf season from the end of May through our current season right now, and he went on the shelf. So obviously there was some issue. The fact that he's in for 40, though, kind of lends itself to some confidence. They could have tried to find an easier spot because he was only claimed for 25. And he's a horse that likes to win. He has 8 wins from 29 starts. So I have questions, though. You missed the heart of the turf season, and we're getting later in the season now, and he's coming back. And, Maggie's comments about him in the paddock, it's hard to have a horse ready, 100% fit off of a bit of a lengthy layoff.
And you're taking him off one of the best claiming trainers in the entire country, in Mike Maker. We'll find out what happens here off the bench for the 7-year-old. This horse here, Forever Mo, this is the 5-2 favorite, a horse that was 9-2 in the morning line. You mentioned the big drop. That was back on June 5th as well, a couple of weeks after we talked about with Hieroglyphics. So where's this horse been?
Well, again, you don't like that. They're turf horses. They have a certain amount of time to run in New York before the turf courses are done for the season. So obviously there was an issue. Now he shows up for 40. I think the drop helps him a lot. He's got a lot of, back class. Also, is he in for 40 because of an issue, or is he in for 40 because, well, we've only got about a month and a half left of turf? You know, that honestly, even
Doesn't
just
say in my form.
No, but that's the thing. This is the puzzle. This is the handicapping conundrum we have.
Exactly. That's why we love this game. You got to play these guessing games. It is an art form. And he's going to need a little bit of help up front, this horse, too, just from a pace standpoint.
At first blush, I didn't see a tremendous amount of pace in here. Then I started looking a little deeper. I do think the 10, Castano, has to go some. Big Wonder on the outside probably plays out the speed coming out of shorter races where he's laying up close. He's going to have to be used hard from the outside draw. I still don't see the kind of speed that maybe helps give him the setup. The horse that I think falls into the trip is the 8, Tis a Runner. I think he's tactical enough where he's sitting right in behind the pace, and he has more recency.
There he is at 7-2, Jose Lezcano. The master of the lawn will be aboard for Mercant Cantor Mossy, second off the claim for this barn, with an 8-year-old trying to win for the 7th time in his career. But his recent form has been incredibly sharp.
Very sharp, and a horse that puts himself in position. He will not be far away. Where the others, I think, are a little bit more pace dependent. The other contenders, I should say.
Meanwhile, the 5, 9-2 on outrageous bet, Pat Reynolds. Jose Ortiz, he just won for $25,000, so they jump him up to 40 off the win. That was September 23rd, a couple of weeks ago. And I think definitely an overlay, I would say, at 9-2.
Yeah, and Pat Reynolds is a guy who knows how to win. He is a guy that finds a key to a horse, he hangs on to it. Worked out a really good trip. Got to save ground, was able to come out when he needed to for room into the stretch. And maybe people are seeing, well, it was for 25, but the figure he got certainly puts him squarely in the frame here.
No question. He's a 6-time winner on the turf at Belmont. He's won over $360,000 on the lawn. He's getting up there, too. He's a 7-year-old, but as he just proved last time out against the right field, he's in fine form. That's one of the biggest numbers he's actually ever run in his career.
How often do we see, though, these older horses that continue to run on the turf? It seems like turf horses have more longevity because maybe the turf's a little bit easier on them, and the fact that they get more breaks. When the turf season's over in New York, they might have a little bit of a break unless they're going to winter someplace where there's turf racing, but still having to ship and settle in new surroundings, they get breaks, and I think that leads to their longevity.
Pick 4 pool, you see there, 110,000 plus. Still 5 minutes to post as they make their way through the tunnel. As we get set for a post parade here coming up, it's still Forever Mo, the 5-2 favorite. 3-time winner on the lawn. The last win coming at Gulfstream back in March for $50,000.
Doesn't really have a winning profile, though, does he?
I can't. I'm just shocked. I thought one of the 3 or 4 main contenders in this race, but even at 3-1, I think this price is way short, especially with the questions you have coming off the bench. Here's a big price to start things off. Addicate at 16-1.
Horse that's won 2 in a row, turned back from 1.5 miles, but caught a very fast pace to complement his style last time. Does he get that kind of pace today?
Next door, here's the one coming off that bench since June 5th, the last time we saw the 5-year-old. Javier Castellano.
Back class, certainly a contender, but I think there's more questions than answers here.
Outrageous bet. He's won, well, he won last time for 25. Now the hike for the Pat Reynolds barn to 40.
He's in good form. Pat Reynolds is a guy, when a horse gets in good form, he holds their cycle pretty well. Definitely a contender.
True Palace, he's actually shown speed on the dirt. A couple of turf starts, it's not really translated of late, that same speed.
Would be a big surprise.
Hieroglyphics, you're being kind. He's won 4 of his last 6, this 7-horse.
Yeah, gets Dylan Davis, who's been riding extremely well. Dominic Citino is a good trainer, but he took off a really good trainer in Mike Maker. Another horse with questions.
Tis a Runner is the 8 here. Mercant Cantor Mossy beat a half length for $50,000 at Belmont on September 17th.
Well, this horse is more recency. He's been running well, was claimed for 25, drops back in for 40. One thing that bothers me, 9 seconds as opposed to 6 wins, but I think he's a main contender.
Troubling Moon, not that long ago, he was tackling a lot tougher company in Kentucky.
Yeah, and last time he comes out of the same race with Tis a Runner, who was beaten about 5 lengths by him. I didn't see any excuses for him.
An aggressive rider who knows how to take advantage of a horse with a pace edge, and this horse may have that, Castano.
Yeah, Castano's quick, and Mertcan Cantamasi has another horse in here, and Tiz a Runner. I think he lets this horse run on.
And no question, you're going to see speed from this runner outside, 23-1, and Jalen Samuel, it's got to be just send and see how far he can go, you would think.
Well, he's coming out of races so much sharper pace. Last time going 7/8, 21-3, 43-3. Time before 21-2, 45, and he's close to those paces. Just naturally, you got to think he's going to be quicker than these coming out of those sharp pace sprints.
23-1. Meanwhile, coming into the day, that man right there, Jose Ortiz, was leading the jockey standings, and right behind him coming into today was Dylan Davis, who's still right there with the Ortiz brothers, but Irad has since overtaken him with a couple of wins here this afternoon. But Dylan continuing to have a tremendous meet, but the Ortiz brothers, well, once again, the story.
Well, both Ortiz brothers, too, are going to spend some time at Keeneland now that Keeneland's opening in the fall. A lot of lucrative stakes there. So that'll open up some more opportunities for Dylan to hold on to it, you know, at least into the battle for leading runner.
And Luis Saez had such a really slow start to this meet. Coming off that riding title, his first on the NYRA circuit at Saratoga, he's really picked it up of late.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain the pace that he kept at Saratoga. Even the last week there, he was starting to kind of run out of ammunition. You know, horses win, they lose conditions, they get tired. You've got to continually recycle and turn over. But you knew he wouldn't stay slow for very long. I know Dylan Davis has to go out of town to ride Muta Makina in the EP Taylor for Christophe Clement, so that's a day he'll be out of town. But certainly right there in the fray. And he doesn't, you know, if you talk about Dylan, he doesn't ride for Chad Brown or you know, much for Todd Pletcher or these guys. So he's doing it without the benefit of a big outfit behind him.
Minute to post in this one coming up. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Taking a look at the horse that Dylan Davis is aboard here in this race. That's number 7, Hieroglyphics. As I had mentioned, he was a late scratch back on September 3rd, and I did watch Dylan take him away from the pony, which I think was the right thing to do. He's a horse that, you know, just takes a little while to warm up behind, is what I noticed from him. You know, he's just not, as a lot of those older kind of turf horses tend to be. They take a little while to warm up, get the bones moving again, and he looks, as far as I can work out, A-okay out there now that he's gotten a bit of a warm-up into him. Number 8, Tiz a Runner. We see a lot of the late money here flowing to him. I like him. And for his second start in the Cantamasi barn, he once again, like he was last time, he was sharp. And I like that sharpness that he's displaying in the preliminaries because it leads to the fact that he should be more forward. Now, he did catch a pretty slow pace in which he was unable to reel in Soulmate, who set glacial types of fractions, but Big Wonder's not going to set those type of glacial fractions, and if he's sitting right there in that second flight, I think it makes him a major player, and his stablemate is likely to be sitting the similar type of trip, though on the outside, in number 10, Castano. Notice that he wanted, you know, Jose Lescano, when he settled him, and when this horse takes a hold of the bridle, his propensity is to grab the bit on the inside. He wants to kind of hang on your inside rein. So I actually have not been in the paddock for a lot of his recent races, but I do know that they have a Houghton bit on him here today. But he's a horse that, once he comes off the bridle and you don't have to take a hold of him, he does run very straight. It's not as if he lugs out the whole time. Just something I noticed if you watch him in that last replay, he does have his head kind of turned towards the inside. I think it's just a habit with him, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. They're making their way to the gate here momentarily. 5-2 favoritism now is shifted to the 8. Tiz a Runner. 5-2 choice, Jose Lescano, the Cantamasi barn. And the horse who was actually dropping from 50, where he ran so good, missing by a half length. But the start before that, he was in for 25 for a couple of starts.
Yeah, and I think this is a logical spot. I mean, there's no panicky, you know, drop in class. They claimed the horse for 25. He's still running for more, 15,000 more than his claiming price. He makes a lot of sense from a tactical standpoint and from a recency standpoint. I do think he's a little hard to trust as your favorite, and I picked him just because he has more seconds than wins, and that's something I pay attention to. You ride a lot of horses through your career that get to the last horse or get there and are happy running with horses and not so much interested in running away from horses.
So going to load up, still 4-1 on Outrageous Bet. meets leading rider Jose Ortiz on board there. As you take a look at the 11, who's going to try and press this pace and probably be out there in front. Troubling Moon at 9-1. Can make some excuses for him. He's taking a slight drop. And, you know, aside from that last race, you go back to the last couple of races he was in on the turf. He was in against a lot better than what he's facing here today. He's 8-1.
It looks like he was most effective when allowed to drop out off the pace when Rusty Arnold had him. He had him his whole career. Last time, he was much closer. He was more in a chase mode. What style does he employ today?
You got to think Saez on the 10. It's going to be aggressive. We know the horse outside. The 11's going to be aggressive early.
Well, Robert Amendola, the owner of the 10 Castano with Merck Cantomasi, he understands as an owner the value of speed. I used to ride a lot of horses for Mr. Amendola, and he liked his horses involved.
Very sharp owner, too, and takes a lot of, has a lot of say in where they run. We're set for the late pick 4. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial to kick things off.
And the rough. From the outside, it is a Big Wonder. In between horses is Tis a Runner. Tis a Runner, Big Wonder. They are right together. True Palace sits off them. Next and third, Hieroglyphics is running in 4th. Castano's on the outside in 5th. Forever Mo down at the rail in 6th, then moving up a spot. Outrageous Bet is next in 7th, followed by At a Kid in 8th. And Troubling Moon is at the back of the pack in 9th. Big Wonder, Big Price leads here by a little more than 2 lengths. True Palace is at the rail, and alongside is Tis a Runner. They are heads apart, 2nd and 3rd, and getting closer to Big Wonder. The quarter went in 23 and 2. Castano is racing in 4th on the outside. Forever Mo down at the rail, and then Hieroglyphics followed by At a Kid. The field goes into the far turn. It is still Big Wonder, the leader here, with Tis a Runner in 2nd. Castano on the outside in 3rd, followed by Forever Mo in those blue blinkers in 4th. True Palace down on the inside in 5th. Still chasing Big Wonder, who leads 3/4 of a length. Tis a Runner runs in 2nd with Castano in 3rd, and then Forever Mo next in 4th. On the extreme outside is Hieroglyphics in 5th. Troubling Moon now begins to pick it up from the back of the pack. 3/4 went in 1:11. It is Tis a Runner, Castano, Hieroglyphics on the outside, then Outrageous Bet, and Troubling Moon. On the outside, here's Hieroglyphics. Now to take over the lead in deep stretch. Hieroglyphics in front narrowly. Late move on the outside, Outrageous Bet. They come for the finish. Hieroglyphics by a diminishing head. Outrageous Bet was 2nd, and Tis a Runner finished 3rd.
Dylan Davis, Hieroglyphics, now won 5 of his last 7 starts. This 7-year-old, and that layoff and claiming off of Mike Maker, not a problem here.
Not a problem at all. Terrific job by Dominic Schettino having this horse ready. Dylan Davis contributed what has become a patented strong finishing ride for him this meet. He has changed so much physically over the last 1.5 to 2 years. He's one of the strongest finishers we have. As good a hand ride as you're going to see, much like his father, Robbie Davis, looks a lot like his dad finishing on a horse. And this is a tale of 2 horses. Hieroglyphics, who loves to win, 9th win of his career as opposed to 4 seconds. And he hooks Tis a Runner, who I am convinced watching this race, when he hits the front, he thinks his job is over, doesn't want to fight for it, and he gave it up readily and wound up 3rd here instead of adding a 10th second. He now has 6 wins, 9 seconds, 6 thirds, but absolutely you can see the desire, the difference in desire from 2 horses, one who's happy to be there and another that wants to beat you.
7-5-8 finish. And you get 9-2 on Hieroglyphics if you add this one here. Dylan Davis back into a tie for 2nd here in the standings with Irad Ortiz Jr. And again, Dominic Schettino, as you mentioned, this nice job here, getting this horse ready off the bench, first off the claim here, then wins it 9-2.
Dylan wants to be leading rider. You could see he wants it. He's not going quietly into that good night.
Tough task going up against these Ortiz brothers, but he's been holding his own and then some to this point. We'll see if he can keep it up. We'll have prices when we come back, and we'll preview some of the big ones coming up this weekend. That Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic How good was Gufo and that sword dancer in that victory as the favorite? Can he back it up for the Clement Barn in Otter Bend Stables in a rematch with Japan and Cross Border? We'll be back.
Run to daylight, running away with the wire. Run up, and the race of Hermanos run up to win it.
Is all happy soul to win the 109th running of the Astoria.
Eclipse champions run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, and that's where you can play it all with NYRA Bets. Get signed up, started. Download the app. Go to nyrabets.com to get involved. Dylan Davis came in to this afternoon, second in the standings. Irad Ortiz Jr. passed him up, and now they're back tied again. Dylan holding his own with the Ortiz brothers right now.
He's just riding so well, really well.
Hieroglyphics, $11.60. And how about this 7-year-old? He's now won 5 of his last 7 starts. What a roll he is on. Claimed off of Mike Maker for Dominic Schettino. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And here with the hot riding Dylan Davis aboard Hieroglyphics. And we were just talking, Dylan, a horse that you've gotten to know in the mornings at least. So how much help did that give you in getting the win today?
Definitely. This horse, he needs a lot of warm-up, particularly jogging. That's what I did today. But if I didn't know what I knew today just because in the morning, then it would have been a little bit of a tougher trip. He's a particular horse where I need to keep the bridle in his mouth and need some help from behind. But just keeping him nice and fluid and clean trip and no trouble, and he was able to get the job done, which was nice.
Now we see you with a little bit of dirt in your goggles, your cheek and stuff there, but you were telling me that the turf course is in great condition. So you said they're leaving a little bit of length to it.
Yes. When I got into the gate just now, it was my first one today. I loved the way it was. I saw grass is growing a little bit more. I particularly prefer a little bit of a longer length of turf, I guess you could say, and my horses get a hold of it a lot better. I just feel like it's a lot easier for them, and I love the way the turf course is this week. I'm excited. So
you've been riding it really well. So congratulations once again with Hieroglyphics.
Thank you, Maggie. Okay.
All right, as you said, Meg, Dylan has certainly been giving this turf course a good workout. He pretty much owns the turf out there, at least of this Belmont Fall meet.
Gets the win here, and let's take a look at this late pick 5 follow-along. Odds on start, Saratoga Kisses. And now you get Hieroglyphics at 9-2. It was one of the main contenders in this race, but a difficult race. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. I talked with Andy before he left about that 8th race, that feature, the important one, looks very tough. And in this race here, Saratoga Beauty, I thought looked really tough, but wow, 5-1 holding at that morning line right now. We have a $25,000 claiming race on the dirt, 6.5 furlong sprinting coming up. And no question, as hot as Dylan Davis has been, Tom Morley, from a trainer's standpoint, has been, I think, even hotter. One of the hottest barns on the grounds right now. And Awesome Indra, Morley barn just claimed, winning at 44% at the meet.
Incredible meeting. His horses are all running well, and I'd like to think our own Maggie Wolfendale has something to do with that. I know she's very involved in the barn out there in the mornings as well. How many things can she do in one day?
Multi-talented.
Yeah, really
she does it all.
Juggles a lot.
It's been fun to watch. We'll see if they can keep it going here. And that everyone's taking notice because all the Morley horses now taking money, as they should be, as we take a look at our weekend stakes schedule. ABR race of the week. It's the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, worth $500,000. We have the Vosburg. Going to see Baby Yoda back in action against Firenze Fire. But Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, worth $500,000. Grade 1, as mentioned. ABR race of the week in Guffaw, coming off back-to-back wins in that Sword Dancer. That was a big moment and a big race for him, for the Clement barn, because he hadn't quite lived up to expectations as a 4-year-old until this performance.
Well, it just seems like he had a couple of odd trips. They added blinkers the last 2 times. I think it added some continuity to his run instead of kind of stops and starts. And Joel was able to have him in position, kind of took a little bit of advantage, you know, keeping Japan pinned down inside of him. Ryan Moore aboard this day had a kind of angle out, but both horses ran well. That's just good race riding. That's a jockey's job, to compromise another guy's trip within the boundaries of the rules. And that was about as good an example of putting a guy in a blind switch as possible. But Guffaw, a lot of ability, at times has lived up to his name, has run a little bit goofy, a little bit inconsistent, but I think the last 2 races with the addition of blinkers has put him in better position.
Different trip, and it's going to be a different rider on Japan. You think he turns the tables on Guffaw?
Well, I think he has a really good chance, too, because also, you know, I was talking earlier about tighter turf courses. This was on the 7/8 turf course. Belmont Park, it's a big, wide, expansive turf course that really should benefit European runners who are more used to these kind of turf courses.
Be fun to see these two go at it again after how close that Sword Dancer was. But for Guffaw, that was a big moment. It's the biggest number he has ever run for Christophe Clement, and starting to live up to that potential now as a 4-year-old. Let's take a look at him in the mornings and how he's been leading up to this Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, this courtesy of XBTV.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks great. You can see how far wide they are, the rail. They have the cones out. We call those the dogs are out. So they're basically working in the middle of the course. He has a target, and you can see he's got that distinctive way of moving, kind of downhill a little bit, his head out, and beautiful stride, really gets over the ground beautifully. Gave his workmate a lead, but this is what you want in the morning. This is practice. This is like sparring. You're not trying to knock the other guy out. You're trying to get stretched a little bit, make your horse work, and keep his interest.
So he's going to be one of the shorter prices, certainly in this race over the weekend. Meanwhile, the 7-year-old Arklow still doing his thing for Brad Cox, still picking up big checks in graded stakes races. Now let's take a look back on September 11th at Kentucky Downs. This grade 2, he just missed as the favorite in this race.
Yeah, he was trying to force a gap that just really wasn't there. He had a steady. It's such a long stretch there. Again, it's a little hard to lose perspective, and eventually was able to come out after getting, you know, stymied in traffic at a critical stage. The fact that he was able to catch his stride and come on, if he had worked out or gotten through that gap or worked out a trip where he could get outside sooner, might have been a much different outcome.
Could be a good group. 1.5 miles, grade 1, Joe Hirsch Turf Classic on a very important Saturday. Some of these final prep races for the Breeders' Cup, and many in this race with designs on going to that Breeders' Cup turf.
Absolutely, and I think it's a great test too, because you've got European participation here with a horse like Japan. Kind of gives you a little bit of a barometer of what you'd be facing by the Euros that'll be coming over here. And a lot of times those Euros have had a full campaign. Sometimes they're a little over the top. It's always interesting.
Could be a fun weekend. We hope you join us on Saturday. Just part of that coverage, that Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. We're going to talk about that Vosburg a little bit later on in the program. Tom Morley barn, we talked about red hot here at the meet at Belmont, sending out the
right now co-second choice, or co-favorite, I should say, Awesome Indra. Just claim this one. Can they keep things going? Javier Castellano will be aboard. We'll be back right after this.
And More Spirit takes over coming past the wire. It will be More Spirit to win the Los Alamitos Futurity by a length and a half.
This is just an unbelievable day for Bob Baffert and Mike Smith. They are unstoppable. More Spirit has dominated the Met Mile. He won it by 7 lengths.
Resorts World Catskills, your closest casino resort experience, is so close. Stay the night and get your game on. Play live table games or thousands of slots. Resorts World Catskills.
New York, the best racing, the best purses, the best New York Stallion, War Dancer. Opening day at Saratoga.
A bang bang finish. It is Danzig with the stars.
In the New York Stallion Stakes.
Here is Step Dancer. Step Dancer got him.
And with two-time winner, Rouge, Barrage, and 2-year-old Surprise Boss. War Dancer, one of the top sires of the Saratoga meet with 8 wins and New York's #1 sire of 3-year-olds. Follow War Dancer online at wardancerstud.com.
You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to get into this game. You can have a few $1,000s and have fun with it. But with the bonds, you're actually going to win. I've had the opportunity to win multiple races. In fact, this year won 2 times in one day, which is almost unheard of to be able to do. This is going to happen with them. You will get into the winner's circle in Saratoga. You will walk that horse in, and you will stand there, look at the crowd, and the bonds will take you there and get you into that winner's circle. And it won't cost you a lot of money.
I think at a yearling, you're looking for pretty much an athlete. All horses come in different shapes and sizes. You know, some are tall, some are small, but really you're looking for balance and athleticism in the horse, one that moves well and knows how to use its body. So day-to-day starts in the morning. All the yearlings are out in the field at night, so we keep them out for a majority of the day. We'll come in the morning, get all the stalls ready, and we'll bring them up right about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And they'll stay in the stall for about 5 hours. They'll get a meal first thing when they come in. If they have any blacksmith or vet work that needs to get done, it'll get done at that time. The horses get groomed and bathed at that time, and importantly, they get to rest because they're out in the field fighting and getting that competitive edge.
Two yearlings we're really excited about.
That's the Quality Road out of Lowell. He is a first foal out of Lowell who is a great racehorse for the farm, and he has been great since day one. He's a big, strong, athletic horse. Hasn't done a thing wrong since he's been over here. Moves well, got a great mind to him. Really has all the qualities that you're looking for. So he's a Warfront out of a mare named Queen Nefertiti. He's a really nice horse, real well balanced, got a good mind to him, very easy moving, and has everything that you're looking for in a horse at this age. My first group are now 4-year-olds. Art Collector was raised out here. He was the big one, and then the filly that won the Santa Anita Oaks, Soothsay, she was raised out here as well. She's a 3-year-old. A horse named Dynamic One that ran second in the Wood Memorial. He was raised out here. We've had a few other stakes winners as well on top of that, but those would be the main 3 so far. I've worked in every aspect of the farm, but the yearlings I kind of figured out was what I wanted to do. And out here, everybody has their own ways, and the way they do it is still pretty simplistic to keeping it pretty ordinary. You know, outside as much as they can, let the horses be horses.
Claiborne with great lineup of stars. We talk about Run Happy all the time. Of course, Warfront, their star stallion, and we'll see if they have their next star in the makes. They got War of Will, of course, Performer, Mastery. Excited to see those youngsters running. And of course, Flatter has produced some good ones as well. Always fun to see these youngsters. What's your favorite thing about seeing the yearlings out on the farm?
Well, I just love what he just said, letting horses be horses. They're not hothouse flowers. The late, great Alan Jerkins used to say they don't you create Olympic champions, letting them sit on the couch, eat chocolate chip cookies. They're out there, they've got to train, they've got to work. And watching them roughhouse, you can kind of identify who's got that dominant personality, and I think it makes them tougher, it makes them stronger. I love the way Claiborne does stuff, and obviously it has worked for over 100 years.
Yep, no
Incredible.
question. 7th at Belmont is next. $25,000 claiming dirt sprint coming up. 6.5 furlongs, and favoritism to Awesome Indra right now. It is shifted to this 4-year-old filly. Tom Morley just claimed this one. This has been a popular filly in the claim box. Javier Castellano will ride. 2-for-2 record at Belmont. Doesn't hurt either. Let's head downstairs to Maggie for more.
A filly who's actually just leaving the paddock because she's such a bad actor, or at least she was, especially last time. That's number 2, No Deal. As you see the short comment line saying froze up, warm up, and she was freezing right out on the racetrack. And I wasn't there that day, but apparently she was doing it a bit back in the paddock too, because I'm trying to get a glimpse of her and what she's doing through the tunnel. But she was accompanied by the outriding pony. It looks as though she is moving forwardly out there. So all things good. And look, she hasn't done anything wrong today. She looked like a happy, content filly. I liked what I saw from her physically. She made that late close late in the game. I shouldn't say she made a late close. She just kind of closed more into it than what she was earlier on in the race. It was kind of like an optical illusion of a race. But I like what I'm seeing from her today. If she can put it together second off the bench, I think she is a solid bigger type of price in here. Is number 4, Sweet Mia. First off the Danny Gargan claim, gets back to a fast track. And I didn't love the way she was kind of walking last time out. She just seemed a little bit kind of sucked up behind, not the most comfortable moving, and all things good with No Deal out on the racetrack. But she seems to be walking better today. She looks great. She looks incredibly fit, as she always typically does. But I think she is probably one of the horses to beat. The problem is, Greg, is many of these shorter price types, they're coming in off poor effort. So who's going to have the form reversal today?
Yeah, that's a good point. Many trying to turn that form around, including our current 7-5 favorite for the Tom Morley barn. Awesome Indra struggled at a short price for $25,000 at Saratoga last time out. We'll see if she can bounce back. Belmont has seemed to be the place for her to do that. She's a perfect 2-for-2 here.
Yeah, good record at Belmont, and hot barn, very hot barn.
Scorching as we take a look at the 2, No Deal. Coming out early, as Maggie talked about, the one who froze up last time out. 10 seconds from 35 starts.
Making a nice impression on the racetrack. I like the fact that she got away from everybody. She's with the outrider, accompanied on the outside with her pony like a security blanket. And when they say froze up, sometimes horses just get so nervous they lock up and they won't move. They won't go forward, they won't go backward. The problem is they have a tendency to come out of it, and you never know which direction they're going to go. Sometimes they actually flip themselves over.
She's got speed. She could be forwardly placed. We'll see what Jose Ortiz does and how aggressive he wants to be. She is 11-1 right now. 6-year-old mare, trying to win for the 6th time in her career. Pace-wise, what do you think in this spot? Obviously, the rail has speed as well.
Yeah, I think the rail may have the most speed. Plus, as a 10-pound apprentice, usually that signals they wanted to be free running, get 10-pound break in the weights. He gets in with 111 as opposed to 121 to 123 for everybody else in the race. So she's in receipt to 10 to 12 pounds from everybody.
We talked about, a lot of the riders earlier. Dylan having the big meet, the Ortiz brothers at the top of the standings. Javier Castellano, too. He's had a big bounce back from Saratoga.
Absolutely. And he's on your favorite for Tom Morley. He's got P.J. Campo as his agent now. P.J. Campo obviously getting him back live mounts. Guy doesn't forget how to ride, just needs horses to ride.
4 years in a row, he won the Eclipse Award as Outstanding Rider. Here's that speedster from the inside, this 6-year-old mare, My Roxy Girl.
Yeah, and, gets a 10-pound apprentice, Omar Hernandez Moreno. You would expect, the plan is let her roll.
We go to the 3, Saratoga Beauty, 4-time winner from 17 starts and very popular in the claim box of late.
I always think that's a vote of confidence. When you see a horse constantly getting claimed, obviously trainers find her attractive. I think that's a good thing.
Sweet Mia, one of many, as Maggie talked about, trying to bounce back off a disappointing effort.
Disappointing effort in the slot, making a nice impression on the track. Danny Gargan having a really good year.
Annika Gold coming out of a 7/8 race at Saratoga.
Yeah, she showed some speed. This one actually would be a surprise for me.
As would this one, Starship Rain, although coming out of a tough allowance race at Monmouth.
Yeah, but previously, back in June and April, she was running for 8 down to 7, claiming competitive there. It's a little tougher.
The favorite for the Tom Morley barn, winning at 44% right now. This one 10 times, first or second in 18 starts.
A white hot barn, and projects to get a good trip. I mean, she's outside. If anybody's committed to the lead, she gets a good stalking spot.
48-1, cover photo, blinkers coming off. There's 1 or 2 races that she has in the not super distant past that compete with this group.
Yeah, just last couple of races leave a little too much to be desired for me. Does take the blinkers off sometimes with these older mares, older horses in general. Changing equipment sometimes just kind of shakes things up a little bit.
We'll see. 6 minutes away from this 7th race coming up here at Belmont. Starts this late pick 3. You can earn a $15 bonus today by playing the races with Naira Bets. Bet $50 each at Belmont Park and at Delaware Park today. And you get a $15 bonus whether you win or lose. All you have to do is opt in. Don't forget to do that. Go to NairaBets.com for all those promotion details. So now 8-5. Money really starting to come in on Awesome Indra, who the last time she was at Belmont, she was a winner. She got up to win by a nose over Sweet Mia. This was back on July 5th.
Yeah, and this was with a 10-pound apprentice aboard this day. Omar Hernandez Moreno getting that weight off, and she was desperate to hold off Sweet Mia, getting 10 pounds from her that day. Not going to be the case today. It was very game. They put on quite a stretch battle, and she wound up getting her nose down on the line first. I think this race is really wide open. I'm looking for a little bit of value, a little bit of price. She's starting to come down in price. A little while ago, she was a much bigger price to 2, no deal. I like the way she's acting today compared to her previous start. And I love the way she looked warming up. But when I looked up and liked her, she was 11-1.
She was 11-1, yeah, a couple of minutes ago. We're talking about the 2 right now. And, wow, down to 9-2. That's a big hit late in the wagering here.
A really big hit. Sweet Mia getting a big warm-up from Luis Saez. Looked really good. Kind of dragged the 8-horse cover photo with her there. You saw her rider have his hands full. Gary Richards trying to slow her down.
And that last race from Sweet Mia, I'd probably just put a line through that. No, that was a sloppy racetrack. She's not been at her best in the slop, and she's better when she's forward. She was not forward in that race.
Well, and also she got off a step slow, so she took the brunt of the kickback, and some horses just react negatively to it, especially on a sloppy track, and she was beaten 8 lengths. You know that wasn't a true race. Her previous races are all good enough to win.
For more on that one in the background there, that 2 no deal at 5-1. Let's go to Maggie.
And what they did when they brought her out early from the paddock is Jose Ortiz and the outrider went actually the right way around, or excuse me, the wrong way around the racetrack. So going from the winner's circle basically all the way around to the 3/4 pole. So actually my husband used to have a horse named Tricky Zippy that you had to do the same thing with, that they just think that, when you go left, it means they just get it in their head that they don't want to do it, and that's the way that they always run. So you kind of have to trick them and let them think they're doing things their own way, and they're doing that as she is back by the gate now. As Mick pointed out, it's night and day difference from last time to this time. She was washed out last time. She's basically having a fit with herself, and I think they even had to put the blindfold on her to eventually get her into the gate. So I like this demeanor here. This is a big vote of confidence with no deal. Guys?
5-1. We'll see how it pans out. A lot of seconds on the resume for the 6-year-old mare.
I like the fact that they galloped off. They got away from everybody. Belmont Park is so immense. You get to the backstretch, and it's so quiet. You could be riding a horse out in the forest. I mean, it's just quiet. And I think horses like that, you get that gallop in them. To me, motion relieves tension. Then you get them over. Then you see how relaxed she's being. The gate crew knows her. They're petting on her. They've got her relaxed. She's just chilling out. I think this is night and day compared to last time. And just on the way she's acting, I'm going to pick her on top. I love how she's acting so far.
Hector Soler there in the background, the starter at Belmont. Everyone in this group with this starting gate crew, some of the absolute best in the business. They know the idiosyncrasies of all these horses. They've seen them a lot in the morning, and they know how to handle them.
Well, and we talk so much about, how dangerous their job is, how tough they are, how good they are at it. They're all really good horsemen. They do a great job. They have a feel for horses. They learn how to work with them. And horses respond so much more to a kind, firm hand as opposed to somebody that's nervous and, it makes quick, sudden moves. You see everything they do is very calculated, very quiet, very smooth.
So about to load up. Favorite's going to be Awesome Indra in here. He's going to try and reverse this form when struggling in that 25 claiming race at Saratoga. But back to a racetrack and 2 starts that she has not yet lost at. There she is with Javier Castellano, the 7.
I mean, you go back to her race 2 back in a tough allowance race in Saratoga. She's third, beating 4 lengths. Now, last time she drops back to 25, showed speed and stopped. Is that a cause for pause? That the last race was kind of a clunker she threw in.
Getting back to Belmont, I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
And for this barn that can do no wrong right now,
well, it's been quite a run.
Definitely upgrade.
Yeah, Tom is really having a terrific go of it.
Rider off the 2, no deal.
And putting a blindfold on her.
Trying to keep this one settled here, and sometimes these runners, they don't like these tight spaces, and the blindfold will help in that scenario.
Now they'll give her a couple of turns, kind of disorient her so she doesn't know exactly where the gate is. And most horses do anyway, I believe. Even despite the fact that they had a blindfold and they give them a couple of circles around, they can feel the presence of where the gate is. But yeah, they'll take a rider off for safety precautions, get her in the gate, let her take a breath, get settled. Then Jose will climb aboard a 1,000-pound keg of dynamite.
There she is, about to step in. And Jose Ortiz ready and waiting. Favorite late here becoming the 4 Sweet Mia, who just missed against Awesome Indra, the 7. 2 starts back in that race that we showed you at Belmont. She lost by a nose that day. She is quick. She had the lead that day. Can she get it again today? Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call. Here's the 7th from Belmont.
They're all in. And they're off. Awesome Indra breaks well, and there goes Sweet Mia up to challenge. Sweet Mia up now to grab the lead as they race up the backstretch. Starship Rena and Awesome Indra, their heads apart, 2nd and 3rd. My Roxy Girl down on the inside runs in 4th. Cover Photo is on the outside in 5th. Starship Saratoga Beauty is next in 6th. And then it's 3 lengths back to No Deal in 7th, and a big break to the trailer Annika Gold in 8th. The quarter went in 22 and 3/5 seconds. Down at the rail, it is Sweet Mia. Starship Rena's in between horses. And on the outside is Awesome Indra. So it's 3 of them across. And there goes My Roxy Girl with a quick burst in between horses to take over the lead. My Roxy Girl is in front, coming for the top of the stretch. Sweet Mia now back running in 2nd. Awesome Indra is back in 3rd. The half won in 46 and 1. It is My Roxy Girl who has a 6-length lead with an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. My Roxy Girl's in front. Moving up on the outside is Saratoga Beauty. Now into second. My Roxy Girl with the big lead here and the big move there by 10-pound apprentice Omar Hernandez Moreno. He wins it here aboard My Roxy Girl.
Where did this performance come from? From this 6-year-old mare. 10th win of her career. And the 10-pound apprentice just taking off from this group when he found an opening.
He saw an opening around the 5/16 pole, in between the 3/8 pole and the quarter pole, and there was no hesitation whatsoever. Omar Hernandez Moreno shoots the gap and just went all in, and this buried the field. He had 4 by the time they turned for home. And that sometimes when a horse has got run and a rider allows them horse to kick on like that, they use all that energy, they feed on the rider's enthusiasm. This is the 4th career victory for Omar Hernandez Moreno. 1 more and his apprenticeship officially starts. He'll have 1 year from the date of his 5th win as an apprentice jockey.
45-1 shot, by the way, getting up for second.
Wow.
Annika Gold.
The horse that, again, I said would be a big surprise for second, but nice to see a 10-pound apprentice get an opportunity. You know, he's got to be a very, very happy young man. Here comes the gap right there, and he goes, I'm in. Let's go, guys. And he didn't hesitate. He went all in, and she exploded through the spot. Race that I have to say is by far and away her best race of her career up to this point.
No question. This was huge from her. At 6 years old, producing the best she's probably ever run in her career, and doing so at 7-1 in here. 10th time she's won in her career. And how about that feeling for a young man whose career is just getting going to be able to win like that down the stretch? It's got to feel awfully good.
He was looking around for some competition. Where is everybody? There was nobody to be seen. His head looked like it was on a swivel there, but inside the 8th pole.
When you were just starting out, I know you were a little different because you were a little more seasoned as a rider when you were beginning. But for a young man like this, what was the biggest lesson that you felt you needed to learn to compete in what probably is the toughest jockey colony there is in the country?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I was speaking, you know, earlier with a rider I used to ride with in New Jersey, Doug Thomas, a terrifically talented rider, always one of the leaders in New Jersey. Riding with the jockeys I rode with in New York during the day and the jockeys I rode with at night at the Meadowlands, if you couldn't learn to be a good rider, you just didn't have any aptitude for it. So seeing the examples they set, how they prepared, the things they did, the things they didn't do, sometimes you learn even more about places where you should go, where you shouldn't go. I was very well schooled because I came up under a contract. I think number one thing is not getting overexcited. As a young rider, you have a tendency to feel like you've got to go all in at once when you can do things a little more incrementally. And that's something that Omar will pick up. I mean, he's excited. That's his 4th win. He'll continue to develop and gain more confidence. And that's when you start to see things slower. Things slow down then. Your mind's not racing. You're able to really kind of pick things up that when you haven't ridden that much, you just don't have the ability to do it yet.
Big win here and a win away from that apprenticeship getting underway. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, one away from the 7 pounds. Omar, what a move you put in with My Roxy Girl, as Mig said, about the 5/16 pole. What feeling did she give you underneath to prompt you to go through a hole like that?
Well, we were coming out, as soon as we were coming out the gate, you know, I felt, you know, that she wanted to go since the beginning. As soon as I saw that hole open, I just went for it. She went for it, and we took it.
Now, Omar, we often see you aggressive from the gate, putting your horses on the front end. You didn't get there with My Roxy Girl, filly or mare who does have speed. What kind of transpired out of the gate for you not to be forward?
Well, it came down to what they were talking about over here in the paddock. You know, we saw the races prior to this. You know, she kind of every time she goes up front, she kind of doesn't finish off. So that's what we kind of. I try to also do that. Try to, you know, I knew she was fast out of the gate, but you know, I try to. So get a good position also, but you know she did it.
Sit against her, give her some confidence, and some confidence for you too. As we said, one away from being a 7-pound apprentice. This has to be monumental for you, somebody who grew up in the area.
Correct. I'm very happy for myself, you know, for everybody around me, you know.
Congratulations, Omar. A big smile on your face.
Thank you very much.
And a huge performance from Omar today. That, guys, I think was a pretty brave move for a 10-pound apprentice with what he did. The winning move with my Roxy girl today.
Yeah, making a difference, and obviously had a ton of horse underneath him, but putting that mare in a position to win that race, and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Tactically, he rode a really nice race, and 16:40 on, pretty much a long shot here. Annika Gold, big long shot to round out your exact. The Saratoga Beauty had a tough trip, had a steady, came out, finished okay, but no doubt about the winner, My Roxy Girl, and very special for this young man. He does have a future. He's developing. He's from the area. To win right here in your backyard in front of family and friends. Very happy for him.
All of a sudden, this pick 5 becoming a lot more interesting if you're alive. Despite starting with an odds-on favorite, now double-digit numbers with hieroglyphics, and now My Roxy Girl, not an easy one to come up with here. And we still got 2 legs remaining. Up next, this allowance optional claiming race on the dirt. 6 furlongs for New York breds here in the important one. 5-2 favorite for Steve Asmussen. Big win on a race that was taken off the turf at Saratoga last time out. We're going to take a timeout when we come back. Trying to take a bite out of the Vosburg next. Firenze Fire back in action at his favorite racetrack when we return. Stay with us.
Speightstown. Munning. Echo Town.
It's Echo Town for Joe Talamo, and Echo Town raced away, and Echo Town is drawing away in the stretch. Echo Town wins the Allen Jerkin Stakes.
A sire line so prolific, it repeats itself. Echo Town.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. Good to have you with us. Big weekend coming up with Breeders' Cup prep races in a horse who he can win anywhere, but he's had some very big moments here at Belmont Park. That is Firenze Fire. He's going to compete in the Grade 2 Vosburg coming up on Saturday, 6 furlong sprint, and a 6-year-old who's still at the top of his game, 14-time winner, $2.6 million in earnings. He has got a monster competition to go up against Baby Yoda, who we'll get to in a moment. Let's look at Firenze Fire in the forego from this summer. He missed by a head to Yao Pound.
Yeah, and he was trying to stop Yao Pan any way he could. I've never seen a horse persistently savage another horse during a race like this. This is something you'd see like 2 stallions out on the plains, Mustangs. He went at him for about 50 or 60 yards. How he even kept his feet, I don't know.
Everyone was talking about this race. He'd had it done to him a couple of years earlier. This time,
Firenze Fire doing the savaging. And what about Yaupon, able to keep his mind on business and still win that race? Jose Ortiz obviously concerned about Ricardo Santana Jr., seeing what was happening and seeing this play out.
He actually gets a piece of the bridle here. Watch him pull the bridle. Like he's trying to say, no, come back here. You're not getting by me. This was unbelievable. And poor Jose's trying to reach down to get a hold of the rein, but he had actually pulled the right rein out of his hand. I've seen horses go at other horses. I've been bitten by another horse twice, actually, right here at Belmont as I was going by him. But it's like one and done. This was, I've never seen anything like it in my over 40 years on the racetrack. And the fact that he was able to keep running and keep his feet, just an incredible athletic feat by him. He may have even cost himself the race. I mean, Yaupon ran fantastic. Yaupon now is retired, but he has a grade 1 victory. Firenze Fire, not only did he show he's talented, he also showed he's tough.
He wants it, yeah. He's got that will to win. 7 for 11 here at Belmont. He obviously is a major player in this race. We got a horse, though, that ran off the page in his last start at Saratoga. Surprised even Bill Mott what Baby Yoda did. 1:14 Beyer speed figure on September the 4th at Saratoga. Just dominated a field that had some very talented runners in it as well. If he can reproduce this race, I'm not sure he's not the favorite over Jackie's Warrior going to the Breeders' Cup Sprint if he chooses to go.
I have to agree with you. This was an incredible performance. Watched him in his first start in Saratoga back early July, mid-July, I should say, and he was good. But he also acted up at the gate. He acted up a bit in the post parade. He got a little bit washy. He was a much more calm, confident horse in September, and he even rated just a little bit off of a horse and then exploded through the stretch. Really, really talented horse. And if he can do this again, he's definitely vying for favoritism in the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Yeah, his stablemate going into that race, I know I was very high. Bill Mott was high on as well, and he even said he beat a pretty good one in Olympiad who was coming off the bench. He did that to him, but some others, Ducal, I know is highly regarded for Brad Cox. Huge number. Can he back it up and do it at Graded Stakes Company? We'll find out on Saturday. We've got a son of Run Happy in here who is going to contest this group as well for Tad Pletcher. Following C, who he tried him in the Haskell, stretching him out. Cut him back in the Alan Jerkins, where he had to face Jackie's Warrior, and Life is Good. We'll see how he fares in this group going 6 furlongs now. That obviously that Alan Jerkins was at 7.
Well, and he's also coming off a Haskell where he had to take up. He was going to be third that day regardless, wound up being placed second. You had to think coming off a 1 1/8 race, it had to dull his speed just a little bit in the Alan Jerkins, chasing such a blatantly fast speed horse in Jackie's Warrior. Now he's got the benefit of that race where they went 21-4, 44 flat. You think that'll help restore his speed, and he gets a great draw, 5 of 5, gets into the race the right way. If Baby Yoda can't pair that up or, come back with that kind of effort, Following C is the horse I want.
It's going to be a fun one. Grade 2 Vosburg coming up this weekend. Jalen Journey's been in incredibly sharp form, too. Grade 1 placed in his career. Won via DQ last start, but he's won 3 of his last 4 starts. It's going to be fun. That'll be race 5 on the card on Saturday. You don't want to miss it. We'll have it for you live coming up this weekend. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. The one to beat coming up in our 8th and feature on this Thursday card. The important one for Steve Asmussen, 4-year-old filly. We'll have Jose Lezcano aboard right now, 5-2. Trying to win back-to-back starts. Stay with us. We'll return.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front.
It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the one word.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
spot clipped, won the Del Mar Futurity. It is Practical Joke in the preservation. And here she comes.
Holiday with a front.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Central Banker is a Grade 2 winner whose well-balanced good looks have helped fill his books every season at McMahon Thoroughbreds of Saratoga. And now that his runners have proved themselves on the track, breeders are beating a path to his court.
Breeders gravitate towards consistency and a sure bet. It's an uncertain world out there. COVID adds to the mix. And, you know, Central Banker in our regional program and even in abroad has really helped breeders find sure footing.
McMahon points out that fourth-year sire Central Banker ranks in the top 10 nationally. Central Banker progeny have earned nearly $9 million, and not just in the Empire State. This past December, his 4-year-old daughter Nico's Dream won the My Charmer Stakes at Gulfstream Park.
And they're off.
That same day, another first-crop runner, Bankett, took the Alex M. Robb Stakes back at Aqueduct.
Bankett has taken the lead.
That win was Bankett's third stakes win and brought his earnings up to more than $800,000.
Every single Central Banker foal comes out very well balanced, medium big size with good bone. They train easy. They are not too wild as youngsters, just wild enough as 2-year-olds.
And there's a daughter of Central Banker in this New York bred race we have coming up. This one actually bred by Klarovich Stables. Jose Ortiz will ride. And 9-2 right now on Honey Money. Owns 5 wins in her career. If you want to find out more about the New York Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund, that's where you go, nybreds.com. The one to beat in this race, the important one for Steve Asmussen. Can she back up what she did in that race taken off the turf at 5.5 furlongs? Here in a race scheduled for the dirt going 6 today. She'll try and beat, among others, Beautiful Karen again, who she had a pretty easy time with back on August the 21st. As you look at the current odds for more, to downstairs to Maggie.
We'll take a look at her here in the paddock, Greg, the important one. And what a difference. Now, I was never in the paddock for her 2 starts at Saratoga, but as you know, Scott Blasi and Steve Asmussen and the whole team, they really school their horses. And I know Toby has schooled the important one, but her first few races back here at Belmont, she got really revved up prior to her races and just very distracted. But with each subsequent start, she settled down, and now she's really settled here in the paddock, which I think is a great sign. And 2, furthermore, it's so funny to look back through my notes with her, and you know, the first note I have going way back when, not sure about the turf. So getting back to the dirt obviously made a lot of sense last time, makes sense here once again, though she was able to control, and as we always talk about, turf speed is a lot different than dirt speed. You don't have to be quite as fast out of the gate on the dirt as you do on the turf. There's other speed in here. We'll see what kind of trip she does pull from that more inside post position. Number 1 by hubby Hello Money. She's probably not going to be on the front end, to say the least, as she turns back from 9 furlongs to this 6. But how cool is she? I mean, she's only run 5 times. She's never finished worse than 3rd, and she's done it in varying distances and surfaces. I will say I probably think maybe when she gets to do a 1-turn mile, that might be her gig. But it's interesting, if the speed does materialize in this race where it looks as though it could, she might be sitting the right kind of trip, and Bob Dunn's done a great job with her. She looks great here, but she's also just very laid back. I wish she was a little sharp for this cutback to the 6. Moving on to some outside runners, returning off of a layoff is number 9, Prairie Fire. Will go to the Orlando Nota Barn. The one thing I can say that's a little bit different is she was a filly that always kind of got on her toes a bit and was a little bit more revved up. Today she's very quiet, but again, that comes with age, that more settled demeanor. She looks much the same. She looks fit enough to me. If she's good enough, if she can get back to some of her good races, she's a major player here. As number 10 is Irish Constitution. She's second off the bench. And considering the way the race was run last time, where she did not get away that cleanly, and the eventual winner did sit right off of the early pace setter, I think with a more clean break towards the outside, this filly could be sitting on a big performance. I noted how much improvement she had made even from the beginning of this year to that start in Saratoga. Same thing rings true once again, and at least now she has that race under her belt, Greg.
7-2 on Irish Constitution from that outside post. Maggie, thank you. 3-1. Price continuing to float up here in the important one. Off that flashy Beyer speed figure she got last time out. It was a race intended for the grass. It was taken off. She was able to get to the front in this race and dominate in the stretch.
Yeah, and set legitimate fractions, 22 flat, 45 flat, and just kept finding. I think she was back to the surface she always really wanted. Was flattered by the fact that the horse chasing her, Beautiful Karen, winds up third here, came back to win at Belmont the first weekend back. I think there's a lot to like. I think 3-1 is a surprisingly big price for her.
Was it 5.5? And you know, maybe back to Maggie's point, some people saying, well, there's other speed in this race, and there is. So she may not have things as easy as she did in that race on the front end.
Well, I guess Shaker Shack has some speed. That could work out. Rosa Veloci has speed. Filly directly inside her, Honey Money has speed. Which is a very good point. Maybe she winds up getting more engaged than she would necessarily like to. You can see she's got cotton in her ears.
And look, it was a long time ago, back when she was just starting out her career, but she's won from sitting off a little bit as well. So you look at that and say, well, maybe she doesn't have to have the lead to win, as Jose Lezcano gets a leg up on the 3-1 favorite. We'll see if she can do it in a race that is scheduled for the dirt with more expected company on the front end. And here's Beautiful Karen, the one she pretty easily disposed of in that Saratoga race. Beautiful Karen, she would come out of that race to win and flatter the important one's form.
Well, you know, it's interesting because Beautiful Karen does her best running when she's involved early too, and I think she's on the hard chase here. If I'm looking to upset this apple cart, I want to look for a horse with a disparate type of style. I want somebody that's going to be a closer, because I think anybody that gets involved, if you're saying it's going to be the important one's undoing, won't it be their undoing as well? And then I think you got to give a horse like the one by Hubby Hello Money a long look. She's probably the best of the closers on a big turn back in distance.
Yeah, 5-1 on By Hubby Hello Money, cut back from 1 1/8 now to 6 furlongs sprinting. So she's sort of an X factor. What are we going to get from her? This race, our feature on this Thursday card, you can play it by Naira Bets. That's the website. You can download the app as well. Match 200, that promo code to use at sign up as they come through the tunnel for this feature on our Thursday card. And even though there's all this speed, it may not matter for the important. Maybe she's quicker than this group. She was able to get that lead that day against Beautiful Karen, who in the past has shown she's pretty quick, and was able to get the lead from her that afternoon. But there does seem to be a lot more in here that want a piece of that front end.
I think you made a great point, though. She has shown the ability to come from just off it. I still think that Jose Lezcano's got to come out running and make anybody else want to commit to that idea. Sometimes you come out running, it discourages guys from giving it a shot. But if they really do, at least then it creates some separation and gives you the opportunity to find a path where you're not getting inundated with kickback and you can get your horse comfortable.
Post parade coming up here in a moment. Call to post we hear in the background. 6 furlong sprint on the main track in our feature here coming up. Here's the filly cutting back from 1 1/8 here and coming off a win in the Fleet Indian Stakes.
Yeah, filly that just shows up and runs. She's run 6 furlongs on dirt, on turf, 5.5, a mile on turf. Last time winning going 1 1/8. I like horses that show up. She's honest.
This is the Central Banker filly, Honey Money, Jose Ortiz.
She's got speed. She could certainly be a part of the pace that we look like could happen here.
She beat Beautiful Karen pretty easily, 3 starts back. Here's the favorite, 5-2 on the important one.
Important one runs her last race back. Everybody else is running for second.
Willoway, she showed some speed last start. Now she puts blinkers on.
Yeah, speed and then stopped rather abruptly. She would be a surprise.
Beautiful Karen, who the favorite beat convincingly when they met at Saratoga. She came back to win, as we mentioned, at Belmont.
Yeah, and outran everybody that day, but I don't think she's going to make the lead here. I think she's on the hard chase. Could be a difficult scenario.
9-2 on that 4-year-old filly. Here's Shaker Shack, yet more speed.
A very quick daughter of Bustin' Stones, bred by Doc Belinsky and Roddy Valenti, who campaigned Bustin' Stones. But again, her style could hurt her in this spot. First time off the claim, too.
More pace again next door with this 47.01 shot, Rosa Veloce.
Rosa Veloce does her best running when she makes the lead. I don't think she's quick enough to make the lead with this group.
The public would seem to agree. A big price, 31-1, Waylon Josie, Jorge Vargas Jr.
Waylon Josie's got the look of a horse. If things really heated up, she could clunk along and get a minor award.
Prairie Fire, Dylan Davis will ride now with the Orlando Notabarn, had been with Linda Rice.
Yeah, coming off a fairly lengthy layoff. And
big drop in class, too.
Yeah, big drop in class. She's, contested races like the Correction Handicap, but she's going to need things to really melt down on the front end to be effective.
Two back, she faced Chubwagon. She was a distant third, too. Chubwagon is an absolute win machine. And then Irish Constitution on the outside. This one had a win against New York Bred Allowance Optional 80 coming out of a stakes race last start at Saratoga.
Rallied well in the Union Avenue in Saratoga. First time under Rosario. Rosario rode her when she broke her maiden, but she could get a decent setup. Things are fast. I love when you subtly make cases for horses, like you did for Prairie Fire, because that tells me you like this horse somewhat, and your opinion is very strong. When you lay out a case for a horse, they usually run very well.
7-1. I do think the important one's going to be really tough in this spot, though. Let's take a look at just maybe one of the more intriguing runners in this race, because she's cutting back in distance from 1 1/8, and this is going to be that race. I don't know if we're going to learn a lot from it, but it was a stakes win. It was at Saratoga, and now she's going to shorten up to 6 furlongs.
And this ride is a perfect example of why Joel Rosario is on a full-out assault on Garrett Gomez, single-season stakes win mark. Saved every inch of ground, cut the corner. This is a 13-1 shot that he willed home in Saratoga. An honest filly who shows up every time, regardless of surface, regardless of distance. Does she work out another miraculous trip again? I love her work tab, by the way.
Okay, what do you like about it?
I love the fact that she basically, works consistent spacing between her works. I like that she had 5 furlongs in 1 minute and 3/5, so that means she's going every eighth in about 12 seconds. That's a very steady clip. Came back with an easy half. Again, 12 to every eighth. I like when horses have that steady, evenly spaced workouts.
Looking for her first win sprinting on dirt. 6-1 right now. Let's go back to Maggie with more on the favorite.
Taking a look at the important one on track. She looks great. And catching up with assistant Toby Sheets, he noted too how relaxed she was today and thought that was a very good sign. And also while she has pretty much spent the whole time with him, noted that when she went into her race 2 back at Saratoga, she had stayed up at Saratoga, and she is a filly that does better when things are quiet, when she's quiet. And Saratoga was just a little too much for her. And then they shipped her back to Belmont, and then shipped her back up there the day before the race. And it just, she was allowed to train down here where it was quiet. It's all about keeping this filly mentally together, and today she has passed that with flying colors. And too, Toby himself was saying how pleased he was to see her back on the dirt, because she breezes really well in the mornings on the main track. So really good signs from your favorite. I was just going to take a little bit of a stab with the outside horse, Irish Constitution here, guys, and hoping that she gets the right kind of setup and trip.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We'll see what happens. 2-1 favoritism on this filly right here. The important one, Steve Asmussen, Jose Lezcano, Bloom Racing Stable. And probably, if she can back it up here, we'll see what she does. But maybe just a blessing in disguise. That race came off the turf. And she stayed in that race because she ran huge that day. And they maybe kind of found that this is what she wants to do. As we take a look again at Buy Hubby Hello Money, who you're going to wind up with here, right?
I am. The more we were talking about the race and the amount of speed, if there's a meltdown and she can work out a trip, I love how honest she is. I love that she shows up regardless of distance, regardless of surface. I like horses like I like my people, honest and hardworking. She checks all the boxes there. The important one's going to be super tough to beat. Bloom Racing not only owns this horse, Jeff Bloom, they also bred this horse, and she's very good. It just depends. Does she get enough pressure that it sets it up for a closer?
Again, a race that looks like it, has a ton of speed lined up. That's going to be the tactics to watch early in this race. Who goes with the favorite, the 3, and it could be a lot of them trying to put pressure on her early. There she is, 9-5 now. Late money finally starting to come in on the one to beat in this race here, our feature on this Thursday card, the important one from post 3 for the winningest trainer in North American history, Steve Asmussen. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
Waiting now for Beautiful Karen, Prairie Fire, and Irish Constitution. They're all in. Number 3, the important one, broke through the starting gate. We'll have a slight delay.
Well, favorite you see there breaking through that starting gate, but luckily not getting far away at all. It took about a step or two, but that looked like she might have slammed her head on that.
Yeah, she hit the doors hard. The examining veterinarian behind the gate will take a look at her, make sure that she's okay to compete. I never like it. Horses can win breaking through the gate, but it always felt to me like they're built up, and then they break through the gate, and it's like the air comes out of the balloon.
Even if she only got a step away?
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't do any running.
It's just that build-up of nervous energy, and then it's almost like the air comes out a little bit.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be a quick reload, it looks like. She'll move back in. 9-5 favorite. Let's go upstairs again to John Imbrial.
For the start of race 8, the important one is in, and we're set. And they're off. And the important one broke well and goes right for the lead. Honey Money's down on the inside in second. Beautiful Karen now moves up from third. Then it's Rosa Veloce next in fourth, followed by A Will Away in fifth. Irish Constitution far outside in sixth. Shaker Shack is next in seventh. Buy Hubby, Hello Money is down at the rail and racing in eighth. And Prairie Fire in ninth. And Waylon Josie trails the field in 10th. The opening quarter in 22 and 3. The important one leads by a head. Beautiful Karen right alongside in second. Irish Constitution is running in third on the extreme outside. Then it is A Will Away. In between horses, Rosa Veloce down at the rail, Honey Money, and farther back it is Shaker Shack and Buy Hubby, Hello Money. Off the turn and into the stretch. The important one down at the rail and Beautiful Karen on the outside. It is the important one now getting away here. The important one gets away to lead by 3, now to lead by 4. Buy Hubby, Hello Money is putting in a late run here. The important one has the lead. Buy Hubby, Hello Money continues to gain, but the important one gets to the wire first. Buy Hubby, Hello Money was second. Beautiful Karen checked in third.
The important one, too quick with a race that looked like it had all the speed. Did not matter. She was all by herself early.
Outran them for the lead after breaking through the starting gate before the start. And Toby Sheets, it has to be said, Steve Asmussen's assistant here in New York, does such a good job. In Philly, obviously, it's a little difficult, nervous, has cotton in her ears. Big run from the one. Buy Hubby, Hello Money. Keep an eye on her. She's going to rally from the inside. And watch Eric Cancel. He's going to try to angle out around Beautiful Karen. And then she kind of drifted out, and then he had to kind of alter course back inside. You see right here, it looks like he's going to come out and go outside of her, and now he's got to kind of change paths just very subtly. Second best regardless. But how nice a filly is this? Shows up and runs every single time, regardless of distance or surface.
There's a lot of dirt coming back in her face, too.
Oh, she was covered.
The important one at 9-5. Impressive here in the win. Broke through the starting gate, quickly reloaded, didn't get very far away at all, and she broke incredibly sharp and out in front by herself and just kept on going here at 9-5.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to give her a lot of credit. Big effort, another big effort from her, and I don't think we'll be seeing any turf in her near future. She's found a home.
Yeah, has found her surface, no question. 3-1, 5-2, back-to-back wins on dirt. Backs up that big number last time. I don't think she's going to equal that speed figure she got at Saratoga, but still impressive regardless.
Well, impressive because of breaking through the gate and also having to outrun some legitimately fast horses. And this was not an off-the-turf event. This was a race for horses intended to run on the dirt. Big effort by the important one.
Favorite gets the 8th here at Belmont. We'll be back to wrap this one up and set up the nightcap. When we return, we're going to close out this Thursday card at a mile on the turf in a New York bred maiden claiming event when we return. The important one, back-to-back wins on dirt at Saratoga and now at Belmont.
Performer is closing in and running on by.
And it's a big performance from Performer to win the Discovery.
Performer, new for 2022 at Claiborne Farm.
Thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We are brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, check out americasbestracing.net today. A glorious afternoon here at beautiful Belmont Park and winning the feature, the important one, and that she has become. Pleased to be joined by assistant trainer to Steve Asmussen, Toby Sheets. And the important one, Toby, is been a filly in your charge for a lot of her career. Switching to the dirt has breathed new life into her.
She's breathed really well on the dirt in the mornings, and coming off the grass last time really opened everybody's eyes, and she ran right back to that race today. Excellent.
And she's so much more settled in the preliminaries. Talk about kind of getting her over that nervous habit that she had earlier on.
I think that's just time with her. Oh, you know, just consistency and prepping and prepping and prepping, and her realizing it's not as bad as she thinks.
It's fun to get your picture taken, girlfriend. But Toby, too, I mean, with these two performances now on the dirt, she's a New York bred. You have to be pretty excited heading into the winter.
Definitely. She's got her open conditions and whatever possible New York bred stakes. So there's a big wide field thing going on there.
We like it. She's been impressive. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much.
All right, Toby Sheets, assistant for Steve Asmussen, and he's done a wonderful job with the important one. Really seeing things through now, Greg, and learn that she can do it on the dirt when she gets to set those fractions.
That was impressive from her, no question. I'm going to be fun to watch her back in action next time out. $5.80 for the win. Back-to-back wins now on the main track. Buy Hubby Hello Money. We pointed out that trip. She ran well to get second. Beautiful Karen, who the important one had beat last time out at Saratoga, does it to her again.
Yeah, chasing her, so you knew she was going to get tired, and the horse to come pick up the pieces was the Honest by hubby, Hello Money.
Odds-on favorite to start. Favorite in leg 4, but those 2 prices in the middle, and we still have the nightcap coming up, and we're going to close it out on the turf at a mile. New York bred, $40,000 maiden claiming event, and I think when people begin to realize hit the nails in the race, that price is going to come down.
Yeah, she's drew in up the also eligibles and definitely a contender on this slight dropping class.
All right, more in this field coming up in a moment. We're going to look ahead when we return from a break to more weekend stakes action. Grade 3 matron. Bubble Rock for Brad Cox coming off that maiden score at Saratoga. It's a big margin of victory in a 5.5 furlong turf sprint. We'll talk her chances when we come back.
Horse of the Year Gunrunner is off to one of the most exceptional starts at stud in recent memory.
Papa Cap, an easy winner of the best pal. It is Wicked Halo drawing away to win the Adirondack. Echo Zulo to win the Grade 1 Spinaway. Good night, and he's going to win the Hopeful, and he did it impressively. Good night, Echo Zulo, Papa Cap, Wicked Halo.
Gunrunner, with a pedigree that breeds true.
The Kentucky October Yearling Sale at Fasig-Tipton, offering a catalog of nearly 1,600 yearlings with outstanding sire power, featuring multiple yearlings by each of the nation's top 25 sires. This year, Kentucky October grads have won or placed in 200 stakes races, including recent Grade 1 winners Hot Rod Charlie and Jack Christopher. Your last chance to buy yearlings in 2021. Kentucky October Yearlings, October 25th through 28th in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
As she comes to the Run Happy finish line, run up, jog. But it is all Happy Soul to win the 109th running of the Astoria.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Hello, you've reached the offices of West Point Thoroughbreds. Please leave your name and your number, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, starting to move now. He's fourth. He's on the outside now. He's pressing him now. There's the 1, the 7, and the 6. He's on the lead. There's another horse on the inside of him. He's pulling away. He's going to win this race.
We are back on America's Day at the Races, FS2, regional sports outlets out in Southern California. Good to have you with us on the program. We have our nightcap coming up at Belmont this weekend, a very important one in terms of our final, really, Breeders' Cup preps. We have the Grade 3 matron as well. 2-year-old fillies sprinting on the lawn at 6 furlongs. And let's take a look at the field that's going to line up in this race. You see these turf sprints, and a lot of times you don't see really large margins of victory. You did see that from Bubble Rock in her maiden score at Saratoga at 5.5. She won by 3 1/4 lengths for Brad Cox at start number 2. That was impressive.
She ran well first time on the turf, but she really took it to another level. Her second start, laid up close to the pace, had to ease back a little bit to secure some racing room. And when she found it, I mean, she just really, really kicked on. She went to ease back, and then the hole opened, and she came exploding through along the inside. This was very impressive on a lot of levels. And you don't see this much separation that quickly in turf sprints. Nice to see John Ed Anthony Shortleaf stable with another good homebred. I grew up watching all those good. Originally it was Loblolly stable, John Ed Anthony, Temperance Hill, and Cox's Ridge, all those horses with Eddie Maple and Joe Canty. But this was impressive.
Can she back it up now? Here comes the next step. She'll be in against winners for the first time, and there's a lot of intriguing 2-year-old fillies going in this group, including Lady Danae, who beat her in her debut. Lady Danae for Joe Sharp. She tried Stakes Company. It could be a funky turf course in Kentucky Downs that she tried in her first attempt against winners, where she was a beaten even money favorite.
Yeah, Kentucky Downs, 6.5 at Kentucky Downs, a very odd kind of shape of the course, a lot of undulation. And man, she really finished. I mean, here, this was at a stage of the meet when Luis Saez, anything he rode, you had to elevate. And she just came storming down the center of the track and didn't give Bubble Rock any opportunity to respond. Very impressive.
So who can take this next step in here? You have John Kimmelrunner, that was so impressive first time out on dirt. Won by 12+ lengths, going to switch to the lawn now on Saturday.
Yeah, and worked up in Saratoga on the training track on the turf. John kept some horses up there, and from what I understand, her works in the turf have been sensational. She was tremendous in her first start on the dirt. This is a Chester and Mary Broman bred runner. Now they go to the turf. I mean, it's kind of scary to think that as well as she ran on dirt, that they feel encouraged to try turf because of her workouts.
Wesley Ward, whenever you think 2-year-olds sprinting, he's at the top of your list usually. In the Bolton Landing, Chi-Town Lady somehow went off at 5-1 in her turf debut on this yielding turf course and beat Poppy Flower in this race.
Yeah, daughter of Verrazano, who won going 4.5 furlongs on dirt on debut. Now she caught a yielding course here. It's going to be a little bit different here over the weekend. I don't think we're going to get the kind of rain that made that course so yielding in Saratoga, but an undefeated runner, showed 2 different styles on 2 different surfaces. You got to respect her.
Beating her stablemate in that effort, and she was the bigger price, by the way, of the 2. Poppy Flower would go to that stakes race in Kentucky Downs at Ainsworth, and she would get 3rd place money in that spot. Mystic Eyes would finish 2nd in there, who's intriguing for Todd Pletcher. But Chi-Town Lady, that was an impressive effort. Yielding turf, we'll see how she can do it. Hoping, fingers crossed, good weather coming up this weekend. I'm taking a peek here, and it does appear like it could be a little bit cooler than today, but it looks like clear skies.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to get any significant precipitation between now and then. And how about the rider named on Poppy Flower, David Flores, top rider, retired from riding. He's been assisting Wesley Ward. He's been doing some pin hooking and working at the sales. But he's ridden 11 races this year with 5 wins. So David Flores is still very capable of getting it done.
Yep. Great rider for many, many years out of California and Southern California. We got our nightcap still coming up here on this Thursday card, and that is Bella Principessa. Right now the favorite for Rudy Rodriguez. Joel Rosario will be aboard, just ran 2nd at this condition. Back on September the 16th at opening day. We'll be back with the post parade next.
Honor AP, a mesmerizing horse from the very beginning, who captured the imagination of the racing world and proved his potential on the track. A Grade 1 winner, out of a multiple Grade 1 winner, with incomparable looks and an unbeatable pedigree. The speed, the bloodline, the physical. Honor AP. New for 2021, only at Lane's End.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2 Regional Networks out in Southern California. It's brought to you by Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, download the app, get signed up and started. That promo code for new members, MATCH200, to begin playing and take advantage of that $200 sign-up bonus. We're going to close out this Thursday card on the lawn. It's on the Widener Turf Course, 1 mile. New York breds trying to get that first win of their career. All of them up for sale in this $40,000 maiden claiming event, and that money's starting to come down now on Hit the Nail, who does draw in from the also eligible list, dropping back in for a tag. Actually debuted at a maiden 40 level, but open company, not state bred. This is the lowest level she's ever been at.
Yeah, and she just got an incredible journey that day. I mean, even the comment, how often do you see a comment that says, I think, nightmare journey? So she's tricky, though. And watching her run, she looks like the kind of horse that runs better when the bit's kept up in her mouth. Don't ride her, override her too much, kind of get her to run in and through the bridle. The fact that Jose Ortiz is staying put, and I think he maybe even learned something last time, she just doesn't look like she appreciates you getting after her so much as putting the bit in her mouth.
3-1 from that outside post. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
We'll get to her in a moment because I was thinking the same kind of thing as you, Mig. But I do want to talk about a first-time starter. He's not taking any money whatsoever. But number 2, Raving, love that name, by the way, has a pretty big pedigree for the turf. Now, California Chrome, not the greatest influence, but the Dam was a graded stakes winner on the turf. She went 4 for 11. She is this filly, Raving, is half to Conquest Hard Candy, who is a stakes winner on the turf and earned over $350,000 on it, and another sibling that went on the turf too. There's masses of turf pedigree and talented turf horses to boot. Now, she was brought in here. She's been accompanied by the pony throughout, but she hasn't done anything wrong thus far. She is nicely on the bridle, so there's that forward demeanor, but she's not nervous by any stroke of the word. She looks fit. She fits these conditions well. I'm getting the feeling that she might be able to outrun those odds. I was kind of surprised when I looked up and saw such a big price. Then again, that could be a negative. As we'll move on to a new face here as far as New York breds are concerned. Number 7, Spill the Tea. Now, Spill the Tea was entered, I believe, 2 weeks ago. She got on the AEs, but that was in a 6-furlong race. Now, arguably, she did run her fastest race when going 2 turns at Gulfstream Park, going the 7.5, but she came up short that day, and I'm not convinced necessarily with her. Granted, it's a mile. She might be able to negotiate it. She is built, though, more like a sprinting type, little smaller, short coupled, but she comes in here first time for Danny Gargan off a layoff, and she looks incredibly fit, just ready to go. It's just, is this the right distance? As, yes, one coming off a very short layoff is number 13, Hit the Nail. Way more settled today, although she has gotten on her toes since the rider's gotten up. And what Mig said, totally true. She was traveling on the inside, and when Jose dropped the reins and went to throw across, her head went up into his face, and she just started kind of going up and down more so on the spot. So she's one that wants to really run into a race, as Mig was saying, keeping that bit up in her mouth. Now, she does take that drop in class. The front wraps do stay on here today. But I like the fact, too, that she's just a bit more settled going into this effort, Greg.
She is the favorite. She deserves to be the one to beat with a drop in class. She's tackling a lot easier this afternoon. She is the 3-1 current favorite. Post parade coming up. 7 minutes to post in our finale on this Thursday card. Each and every Saturday, Naira Bets hosting this live money handicapping contest during this Belmont Fall Meet. $300 buy-in, cash prizes, and seats into the following week's contest up for grabs. Registration ends tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's on Friday. Go to naira.com/contests. Sorry, Friday, naira.com/challenge to sign up.
See your name on the leaderboard. It's got to be cool. It's got to be cool.
No question. Get involved. Test your skills against some of the best out there and compete for real money out there as well. Here's a big price, Barrel of Bliss. And this one has had 8 starts and has never hit the board.
Yeah, had a mare, Battle of Joy, that was trained by John Hurtler, but this one just hasn't really shown much yet.
Big price on a first-timer next story as well. It's the daughter of the Derby champ, California Chrome.
I love what Maggie was talking about, the pedigree. I was looking at this horse pedigree. Big pedigree for the turf. Tom Bush, very capable horseman. Had her up in Saratoga.
Dylan Davis on Frosted Bourbon actually debuted against Better on the turf.
Yeah, and the last time put a line through the off-the-turfer. She is coming off a little bit of a layoff with a steady work temp.
It's going to be the 3-year-old debut. We haven't seen her since October last year. I know you ain't talking to me. Bustin' Stones filly.
Yeah, it was taken up, sprinting, actually did pass some horses, stretches out. It's going to have to settle a little better.
Bella Principessa, the 5, her last race at this level makes her certainly one of the horses to beat. She was second, beat less than 2 lengths.
Yeah, she's certainly a contender. She showed she belongs in this company.
Bit of a wide trip that day as well. Spun for Lulu. This one's intriguing as well. At 12 to 1 with Javier Castellano.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a filly that if she takes a little step forward, she puts herself squarely in the frame.
Hit the board at this condition. Saratoga 2 back. Spill the Tea. Danny Gargan. Big drop in class.
Yeah, big drop in class. And first time against New York breds. There's a lot to like here as well.
White Hot. Blinkers come off for start number 3.
Yeah, he's going to have to run a race that she hasn't run yet to be competitive here.
Haya Harry. Here's the 9. Edmund Davis. Patio Prado filly.
Yeah, didn't get away cleanly last time, but would still have to improve vastly.
Yeah, she was 48 to 1 on that occasion. Actually, underlay right now, it seems like at that price. Here's Tales of McKenna, certainly a player. She ran second at this level last start for George Weaver.
Yeah, big close for a filly that's getting a nice warm-up. Looks good on the racetrack, framed up beautifully under Manny Franco.
Yeah, finished it well clear of Spun for Lulu, who was 3rd in that race. Causeway of Dreams is a first-time starter by Giants Causeway.
Yeah, first-timer that's not taking any money on the board, bred by Gallagher Stud, Gallagher Steakhouse.
Ooh, good
fame.
one.
Yeah.
Good spot. Hit the Nail, Jose Ortiz and David Duggan, and again, the lowest level this filly has ever run at.
Yeah, I think a filly that makes a lot of sense. She does want to run into the bid. I saw the same thing Maggie did. You start riding, her head comes up in your face. Bred and owned by Delahanty Stock Farm. It's up in Amenia, about 15 minutes from my house in the Smithfield Valley. Beautiful over there.
3 minutes a post in our finale coming up on this Thursday card. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More coming up on this Thursday card from Belmont right after this.
And on the morning of the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need to create the noblest of all creatures. So God made a racehorse. He needed a horse that is faster, smarter, sleeker, and sounder, so God made a racehorse. He created an animal sound of wind with oversized nostrils to breathe fire like a dragon and turn oxygen into rocket fuel. He gave it a kind eye so his caretaker could look into his soul. And then on the afternoon of the 8th day, God realized that he needed an animal that was even swifter, smarter, and sounder.
An animal that can compete on the world stage and win iconic races like at Royal Ascot.
So God created a legend. The legend lives on
at Alapa.
Be a part of the Racing Action Saturdays at Belmont Park with live money contests available online through Naira Bets. A $300 buy-in adds $200 to your contest account, while the other $100 funds the cash prize pool paid through 10th place. Follow along with the races on America's Day at the Races while keeping track of your leaderboard standings on Naira Bets. After the contest, your bankroll and prize winnings are shifted back into your Naira Bets account to start betting or withdraw. Register to play today at nairabets.com/contests.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back at America's Day at the Races program. It's brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Alapa. Final race coming up on this Thursday card on a beautiful fall afternoon here in Elmont, New York. And this is the first time starter Maggie had touched upon. Raving was 8-1 morning line, taking no attention on the board. But I know 2 people that like her.
got the pedigree to back her up. She's making a nice impression on the racetrack. Tom Bush is very proficient with any kind of horse. You know, he's been in Saratoga all fall. I'm sure she had a chance to at least gallop on the turf up there. Listen, she's a big price. I'm taking a swing. Full disclosure, I boxed her in exactas with the 13.
All right, who's, by the way, now the 9-5 favorite after opening up around 3-1. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Seems like a pretty sound bet, Meg. Not sure how we both end up on a 24-1 shot, but I think a horse that, you know, deserves highlighting given that pedigree. As we'll take a look though at number 3 Frosted Bourbon, coming back off of a layoff and getting back to the turf for this filly. For Mark Hennig, gets Lasix, always willing to forgive a horse for their debut, comes back looking fit, right spot with the drop in class. I think she just fits here and she makes sense, and I feel fairly confident with Mark having his horses ready to fire off of a break. Number 4 is I Know You Ain't Talking to Me for Rob Falcone. Got away not in the cleanest fashion last time, and then kind of steadied back. Just a rough trip first time out and didn't have that much speed. I saw Kendrick Carmouche give him a massive warm-up for trainer Rob Falcone. Now, physically, it doesn't quite strike you as wanting a mile, but if he breaks better, puts himself in the game, he's really fit, and a horse that I kind of liked in that race. I know that running line does not do him much justice, but I think he will improve at second asking here, guys.
A horse had some excuses in that race. The 2 runners came out of there to win next time out. Big price, 20-1 right now in the 4. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And she looked good in the warm-up. She just needs to set a little bit more. Going 5.5, I thought she got a little bit keen. Who knows? Maybe Kendrick's able to put her on lead and she'll relax on the lead.
There's the favorite, last in line. Hit the Nail, drop in class for David Duggan. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial with the call.
And they're off. Number 2, Raving, just walked out of the starting gate and trails the field at the back of the pack, along with Causeway of Dreams. Up front, it is Barrel of Bliss. The leader here, I Know You Ain't Talking to Me, runs in second. Spill the Teas on the outside in third. And down on the inside is Frosted Bourbon, who is now gaining ground quickly. There goes Frosted Bourbon to take over the lead. Barrel of Bliss runs in second. I Know You Ain't Talking to Me is next in third. Spun for Lulu runs in fourth. Right alongside is Spill the Tea next in fifth. Bella Principessa is in sixth. And then it is White Hot who's running in seventh. To her inside is Tales of McKenna. And then farther back it is Hiya Harry, followed by Hit the Nail, and then Raving. And way back is Causeway of Dreams. Up front, Frosted Bourbon steps away here to lead by 4 lengths. Barrel of Bliss, Bella Principessa giving chase. Bella Principessa comes through on the inside now to take second and is closing in on Frosted Bourbon. Frosted Bourbon the leader, but the lead's down to a length. Bella Principessa has moved into second. On the outside is Barrel of Bliss next in third. Far outside is Tales of McKenna. Down towards the rail is Spun for Lulu. And then it is Hit the Nail. 3/4 in 111. The field is in the stretch. It is Bella Principessa and Tales of McKenna. And now they're 1-2 with Hit the Nail out in the middle of the course. They're moving for the 16th pole. Tales of McKenna, Bella Principessa, Hit the Nail on the outside. They're coming down for the finish, and it's going to be Bella Principessa by a head. Tales of McKenna runs second to complete the old Woolworth Exacta.
Bella Principessa holding off Tales of McKenna for the win here. Joel Rosario and Rudy Rodriguez at 7-2.
Bella Principessa worked out a perfect trip under Joel Rosario. Saved ground, came out when he needed to. No excuses for the runner-up. Tales of McKenna. Horse I want out of this race. Keep an eye on the 2. Last in your picture, white, green, steadying along for about 5/8 of a mile after breaking slow. Watch this move. Runs into that horse, almost knocks that horse over. Makes a run and flattens out late. This horse can run. She had a really tough trip, and we can't make too many more excuses for Hit the Nail. She just doesn't look like the most willing participant. When she's set down, she kind of runs with the emergency brake on, stops and starts. Out of this race, the one I want back is the 2 Raving, but I don't think we're getting anywhere close to 24-1 next time.
No chance. Yeah, after that was a nice run, certainly in the stretch. Bella Principessa, though, 9th time out. with the win to close out this Thursday card at 7-2 and showing some gameness here to hold off Tales of McKenna, who was trying third career overall start, just the second time on the turf.
Two of our stronger finishers on the NYRA circuit here. Joel Rosario, hands and heels on the inside, a couple of underhanded swats with the crop. Manny Franco, strong young rider on the outside. Tough to get by Joel Rosario the last 16th of a mile.
5-10, 13, and a 60-1 shot, by the way, completing the superfecta. That's Haya Harry and Charles Roberts. How about that? 7-2 over 4-1, 9-5 favorite third, and that big 60-1 shot at fourth. Here's this important weekend we have coming up. It is going to be a lot of fun. We hope you join us. Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, our ABR race of the week, the Vosburg Firenze Fire, and the potential star in the making, Baby Yoda. Can he take that next step forward? We have the Matron, which we touched upon as well. But the Turf Classic, Gufo trying to back up what he did in the Sword Dancer in a rematch with Japan and Cross Border. With a different trip, maybe Japan can turn the tables on Saturday.
Yeah, I think Gufo got first run on him, kind of kept him shut off in behind horses, kind of had a running block, if you will. Used it as a blind switch, and Gufo being a little bit handier with blinkers, running a little bit more into the bridle, gives Joel Rosario a little bit more control of his own destiny. But right here's where I'm talking about. You see Japan, purple, you know, subtly had to take up, come out over heels. By then, Gufo, who's a good horse, has gotten first run on him. And the margin of victory wasn't that much that you couldn't make a case that Japan may have been best this day.
Well, he'll get another chance to prove it coming up on Saturday in the rematch. He'll have a new pilot aboard as well. And Cross Border going to tackle that group. Again, the 7-year-old for Mike Maker.
Yeah, a very competitive race. Gufo and Japan, to me, are the marquee players, but turf racing is about trips, and they're good horses. So.
Channel Maker, so much promise after the big race he ran in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Hasn't kind of gone, he's 7 years old now. Can he get back to that race?
Well, it start really off the layoff, right? And sometimes as you get older, it takes a little longer to get into the shape you need to be. So I'm not ready to concede that he can't rebound.
Bella Principessa taking the nightcap for Rudy Rodriguez. Leone Racing Stable, Louis Laznaro and Joel Rosario, $9.10 for the win. Pick 4, over 900 bucks. Sorry, 50-cent pick 4, $4.15. And there's the pick 5, $977.50. The pick 6, $19,105.
Good day. Good day at the races. Rather have a bad day at the races than a good day anywhere else.
It's the truth, isn't it?
John Neighbors said that.
Great weekend coming up. We hope you join us tomorrow. By the way, we're back 12:30 Eastern time. That's when we kick things off tomorrow. As you see, look at that payout in the late pick 5. We join with Ballet Sports, Southern California, San Diego tomorrow, 3 Eastern, but FS2 coverage starts at 12:30 Eastern. So we will see you then. The important one, back-to-back wins, winning at Saratoga and then backing it up with this performance here at Belmont, going 6 furlongs today. Her future on dirt for Steve Asmussen and Bloom Racing. Hope you enjoyed our Thursday program. We'll see you tomorrow on America's Day at the Races.